according to the X, or I ain't gonna call it X. It's Twitter. According to Twitter, they were supposed to start 17 minutes ago. Here's some of the people waiting. Let's see how long they make this comment. 10 hours ago. Anybody actually like putting this thing in anytime in recent hours here? Let's see. That was 7 hours ago. 10 hours ago. 20 minutes ago. It says space unavailable. I didn't even know you had to click join. They don't even have a thing here. Let's see, what's this? Share. Got views turned off. Huh. Well, I guess they're just not going to let people watch it. Kind of defeats the purpose, don't it? Yeah, I figured this was going to be a train wreck. Let's see. Try to see if Musk has it up and going. It didn't work. Of course it's not working because Elon fired everybody because he's a freaking moron. He didn't leave nobody there that actually knows how to do this. Oh, this is a public trending crashed. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Trump space. What's this? It's going good? Nope. Yeah, they don't have anything. It's not working. Elon thought he was going to get something on this one. It ain't there. Oh, Elon. You should probably pay your bills. Oh, okay. He's making up an excuse. There you go. That's the Elon we know. Because he is nothing but a pass the buck kind of guy. This has been, oh, yeah, this is going to be a train wreck. This is going to be a complete and utter disaster. And I'm here for it. Okay. I am checking out, let's see it. Okay, I'm checking. Okay, all my messages are working. Apparently, I'm working better than Twitter right now. And let's go ahead and share this on here. I don't know that anybody else has actually managed to get onto this thing. This is a complete. Oh, yeah. Just saw this coming a mile away. Let's see if I can get this over to my uncle. I think he'd like to see this. What a mess. Well, I guess we could talk about something else while we're waiting on this disaster to start. Oh my God. Yeah. Oh, lordy, lordy, lordy. Poor Elon. It's not just me. I've seen some people already posted on here how this this thing is not working, and it's apparently not going to work. Oh, what a disaster! What a disaster indeed. Poor Elon. I'm gonna leave it up here for see if I can find something. I mean, this is like a massive train wreck here. Uh, he's saying there's an attack of some kind. I don't believe him. I think he just doesn't know how to. Well, he don't know how to run a business, and the whole thing's just falling apart on him. But let's see if I can find something I was wanting to go over earlier. Let me check to see if it's in here. While we're waiting on Mr. Musk to get his act together. Okay. See, that is a 2-minute spot. Let me see if I can find a good one. Oh, here's a live feed. Now this'll work.
The new era of business is here. Use generative AI on AWS to optimize production and scale your business from local to global. With generative AI on AWS, businesses can push the boundaries of innovation.
Ukraine's going on the offensive.
These mushrooms make you feel
Jesus Christ.
better.
Haven't seen anything in
Of
U.S.
150 kg. Moscow possesses its own ballistic missiles as well, but the supply of these systems could allow it to use more of its arsenal for targets beyond the front line. Military experts say Russia could then employ Iranian warheads for closer range targets as training continues for the Russian military personnel. Sources have also said that the only next possible step after training would be the actual delivery of the missiles to Russia. International response to the deal has already started to flow in. A spokesperson for the U.S. National Security Council has sent out a warning that the United States and its NATO allies are prepared to deliver a swift and severe response if Iran moves forward with such transfers. The U.S. official has also said that this would represent a dramatic escalation in Iran's support for Russia's war against Ukraine. The White House has repeatedly warned of the deepening security partnership between Russia and Iran since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. According to Iranian officials, Iran has sold missiles and drones to Russia but has not provided these particular missile systems. However, there is no legal prohibition on Tehran selling such weapons to Russia. Iranian officials have also said that Iran and Russia often engage in mutual purchase of parts and military equipment, and that the use of such equipment is entirely the other country's decision.
To get them back. If they don't, Russia will
As part of the military cooperation, Iranian and Russian officials have often traveled to other nations. Until now, Iran's military support from Moscow has been limited mainly to...
We got a few... Now, CNN finally said something. Oh, there, CNN's talking about it. Let's see what they say.
Well, we are seeing a dangerous escalation in the Russia-Ukraine war with a fire breaking out at a Russian-controlled nuclear plant. It happened on Sunday in a cooling tower at the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant. This plant is in southern Ukraine, and at this point there has been no detected spike in radiation levels reported. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky blaming Russian forces for starting the fire. And for the first time, he is also acknowledging Ukraine's one-week-long offensive into the Kursk region of Russia.
Good.
Only from the beginning of this summer, and only from the Kursk region, our Sumy region suffered almost 2,000 strikes, artillery, mortars, drones. We also monitor every missile strike, and each such strike deserves a fair response.
Yes, they do.
And joining us now is CNN senior international correspondent Fred Pleiken, who is live for us in Berlin. Fred, for the last week or so, this operation had been shrouded in mystery and still remains unclear. What do we know about where this appears to be heading?
Elon gets his thing up and going. Still waiting.
Well, right now it certainly appears to be heading in a direction where the Ukrainians are still trying to make gains. They're still sweeping through that area in the sort of southwestern region of Russia. Some of it is in the Kursk region, and some of it is in the Belgorod regions of Russia, and they're trying to take some of those small little villages that are right on the border with Ukraine. Nevertheless, having said that, it appears as though the Ukrainians have managed to get around 30 kilometers into Russian territory. And some of the numbers, Rahel, that we're getting, and these are numbers that have been confirmed by the Russians, are actually quite staggering. Some of Vladimir Putin's closest advisors have told him that 28 villages, at least, are now under Ukrainian control, and some 120,000 Russians have had to leave their homes and be evacuated. 180,000 are under evacuation orders, and that is in the Kursk region alone. Again, in the Belgorod region, you also have some people evacuating as well. So certainly this seems to be a pretty big problem for the Russians, and a big problem for them to also try and hold up the Ukrainians. And as you can imagine, Rahel, Vladimir Putin absolutely angry at this situation. He had a meeting with those advisors earlier today where he lashed out at the Ukrainians, lashed out also at Ukraine's Western allies, saying there will be a response by the Russians. I want to listen into some of the other things that he had to say there.
Предложением заинтересованных и нейтральных посредников.
It appears that the enemy, with the help of the Western masters, is fulfilling their will, and the West is...
Well, we'll get back to you, Pootie. That's what we got here. We got music. They got nothing. They only gonna have sound? No video? Really? Yeah, all they got is music. In 45 minutes, an hour ago. Oh, this is a disaster. And they ain't even got started yet. Of course, Trump's gonna lie his ass off as soon as this gets started. I mean, really, really will. He's not gonna tell the truth about anything. this it? I mean, is this what they're going to do? Doesn't look like anybody's here. If this is it, then there's nobody here. Well, he said 15 minutes ago the thing was not working, so. But this is what they're going to do, right? He's going to talk. There's not going to be any video. Let's go back to Pooty Poo. While we're waiting on this. There's Pooty Poo.
Fighting us with the hands of the Ukrainians. So looks like the enemy seeks to improve its negotiating position in the future.
Oh, never mind, Pooty Poo. Okay. Somebody's doing something. Somebody's moving the microphone. Is this right? I feel very foolish looking at this. Oh, Elon's gone. And Trump muted his microphone. So this thing is, yeah, this is like a disaster. Trump's recording it, I guess. I guess that's what that means. I know I'm not recording it because it said I wasn't allowed to. And I can only listen, so I can't say nothing. That says there's 854 other listeners. Most of them are people like me that's going to be commenting on anything that's actually said here. So I was thinking they were going to do some sort of video, but apparently not. Wow. So this is what $45 billion will buy you. MySpace had better than this. Oh, this is sad. This is really sad that somebody spent this kind of money on something and got this level of return. And Elon crashed. Where'd he go? Wasn't he the one that's supposed to be asking the questions and doing the interview? I mean, that's what I thought was going to happen here, right? I mean, that was the whole point. Well, that went over like a lead balloon. And we're only 37 minutes into it. Oh, this whole campaign is just going down to... It's going down the tubes. This is absolutely a disaster. A complete and utter disaster. I mean, this is pitiful. This is damn pitiful. They should have had something prepared. Oh, this is sad. If it didn't make me laugh so hard. And it does, because it's pitiful. Hold on a second. Oh, this is just... Oh, this is sad. If it didn't make me laugh so hard. And it does, because it's pitiful. Hold on a second. Oh, that sounds a little creaky. Well, I don't know. Something better over here than I do at my desk. Well, I don't know. I might have the volume up too high. Let me adjust again as usual. But apparently Donald Trump ain't gonna hop on here anytime soon. Wow. Oh, they're both back. Yay! Losers. Let's see if they can actually get their act together this evening. Well, are they going to talk or are they just going to sit there on mute? I was sending a link to my father-in-law, so if he wants to hop in and see this. I don't really have a way to add him. I wish I could. That would be nice. Unfortunately, the streaming software I use doesn't have that particular option that I'm aware of. I haven't really tried, but let's see. Text templates, Prism Mobile, Prism Lens.
All right, hello everyone. My apologies for the late start. We unfortunately had a massive distributed denial of service attack against our servers, and saturated all of our data lines. Like basically hundreds of gigabits of data were saturated. We think we've overcome most of that, and so it's now time to proceed. But as this massive attack illustrates, there's a lot of opposition to people just hearing what President Trump has to say, and but I'm honored to have this conversation. I want to emphasize it's a conversation, and it's really intended to just get a feel for what Donald Trump is just like in a conversation. It's hard to catch a vibe about someone if you just don't hear them talk in a normal way. And when there's an adversarial interview, like no one's themselves in an adversarial interview. And this is really aimed at kind of open-minded, independent voters who just trying to make up their mind. So you can understand like what is what is it just like to have a conversation? So, honored to Donald. Great to speak. We had a great conversation yesterday. As you mentioned yesterday, if we could just record that conversation and post it, it would have been excellent. And I hope we can have something like that today.
Well, I think we will. I'm pretty sure we will. And congratulations, because I see you broke every record in the book with so many millions of people, and it's an honor. We view that as an honor. And then you do want silencing of certain voices. Usually those are voices that have something to say that are constructive, oftentimes constructive. And so we have to consider it an honor. But congratulations on breaking every record in the book tonight. That's great.
Well, thank you. Maybe we could start off with, the assassination attempt, which was an incredible thing. And I have to say that, your actions after that assassination attempt were inspiring. you instead of shying away from things, instead of ducking down, you were pumping your fist in the air and saying fight, fight, fight. And I think that's, I mean, the president of the United States represents America, and I think that is America. That is strength under fire, and so that's a big part of the reason why I was excited to endorse you as the president of the United States for having another term here. Is that was just incredibly inspiring. But I mean, what was it like for you?
Not pleasant. I have to be honest. I said there was blood. I had more blood. I didn't know I had that much blood. The doctors later told me that the ear is a place that is a very bloody place if you're going to get hit. But in this case, it was probably the best alternative you could even think about, because it went at the right angle, and it was a hard hit. It was very.
No, it wasn't.
I guess you would say surreal, but it wasn't surreal. I was telling somebody, you have instances like this, or like a lot less than this, where you feel it's a surreal situation. And I never felt that way. I knew immediately that it was a bullet.
No,
I knew immediately that
what
it
was going on
at the ear.
I've seen the video. You were confused.
And because it hit very hard, but hit the ear.
No, it didn't.
And I also heard people shout, bullets, get down, because
show us your medical
I
records.
moved down pretty nicely, pretty quickly. And
let's see them.
We had bullets flying right over my head after I went down, so I'm glad I went down. The bigger miracle was that I was looking in the exact direction of the shooter, and so it hit me at an angle that was far less destructive than any other angle. So that was the miracle. That was. Yeah. For those people that don't believe in God, I think we got to all start thinking about that. You have to, I'm a believer now. I'm more of a believer, I think, and a lot of people have said that to me. A lot of great people have said that to me. Actually,
are you kidding me?
But it was amazing that I happened to be turned just at that perfect angle, and all because I put down a chart on immigration that showed that the numbers were so great. I love that chart even more now.
Maybe it's a sign.
Yeah,
maybe that's a sign.
Tells about your last one,
immigration sign.
You highlighted a serious issue, and at that moment, the bullet missed your ear, but
this thing's gonna crash.
Missed your head. I mean,
the amazing thing is that the sign. I said, bring down that sign on immigration, and it was literally about an eighth of a second where it would be good, and after that it was going to be a disaster, no matter which way you were facing. But it just had that perfect angle, which was exactly at this shooter. Very sad situation. Such a sad situation. As you know, we lost somebody that was great, Corey, a firefighter, a great gentleman, a great trumper. He was just a fantastic family and a fantastic man. And a friend of mine came up, Elon, and said, I'd like to give the family some kind of
My understanding, though, he wasn't all that great a person.
And I said, that's great. He said, do you mind? I said, I don't mind at all. And he wrote out a check for $1 million, gave it to the wife. And, she said, this is really nice, but I'd rather have my husband back, which is a nice thing for somebody to say, to be honest. She's great. The family is great. And we raised a lot of money for them and for two other gentlemen are unbelievable people also. They were hit really badly. They thought they were not going to make it, and they did. The doctors in the Butler area, I tell you, they were incredible. They saved the two, and they were really hit tough, both of them, equally. And we thought, my first question was,
let's see those medical records.
Bullets flying over me. I said, how many people killed? We had a massive crowd there, a tremendous, thousands and thousands of people, and there was no land. I mean, there was just no people. So I said, how many people have been killed? Because I knew there were other shots being fired. And they said,
one person died.
We don't know yet, but some people have been badly hurt. And I have to give the Secret Service a sniper, they call him, or sharpshooter, but sniper, because he didn't know there was a problem. He's an extraordinary shot, obviously, and he didn't know there was a problem. And he was able to pick it all out within 5 seconds. And he used one bullet from very far away, I guess probably about 400 yards. The shooter was 130, but he was on the opposite side of the field and the podium. and he saw the smoke and the flame from the gun.
This is what they're going to talk about?
Immediately
I thought this was supposed to be
recognized
something
it,
about his,
and
campaign.
immediately took a shot.
Oh, he's trying to get sympathy.
And it was one
yeah, that's right.
perfect shot from very far away. And if he didn't do that,
that's all he's got.
he would have.
This is all he's got.
I mean, if he would have, a lot more people could have been badly hurt and killed. So I have to take my hat off
The guy
to him,
shot
because
8 times.
that's also a surreal. You know, he's been with them for 23 years.
We're not even sure of that.
He's never had anything like this. And all
I
of a
can't wait
sudden
till
he
the
has to
FBI
act.
releases
And it's a
the,
very tough thing to
bullet
act and to be shooting
paths
somebody.
of the
But
shots,
he saw
because
they
trace these things.
He saw the gun,
cannot wait
saw
to
the
see
smoke,
that.
saw the
That
flame from
should
the gun.
come out.
Very far
I wish
away.
they could. I hope they
Obviously,
release
it's
it
very
before
good
the
eyes.
election,
He's
but I
got very
doubt
good
it.
vision,
It's one
which
of
I
those things.
assume you
It's
have to have
probably
in
take
that
a while
particular work.
before they release
But
it.
he,
But
he
consider there's not
came
going to be
very
any
quickly.
trial
and
or any
it was,
kind of
they
other
say it was
things
approximately
after
5
the
seconds
investigated
from
party's
long
done.
range, one bullet.
They should release it.
If that
as
didn't
soon as
happen,
they're
because
finished.
the shooter had a lot of
Excuse
bullets.
me.
He had a lot of cartridges up there with him, so
Well,
it would have been very.
Yeah, you want a whole pack of bullets.
That's actually, he was very competent in taking that shot to stop the attempted assassination. But I mean, there does seem to be, some pretty significant failings elsewhere in the system. Like, there's just no way that, like, how on earth does a shooter get on a roof 130 yards away?
He just climbed up there from the sound of it.
Crazy. I think most people people are wondering how on earth could such a thing happen.
Well, I view it as two ways. There should have been nobody on the roof. There were people, because there were so many tens of thousands of people there. There were people that were seeing him, and there was one woman with a red shirt and Trump all over it, and she's screaming, "That guy's got a gun!" You saw it probably. There's a guy up there with a gun.
I mean, it's like I guess.
Yeah, we all saw those videos.
For my part, and I think probably many members of the public are wondering how the heck are, basically people wondering by it, pointing out there's a guy on the roof with a gun. And they're seeing it, but somehow it's not being addressed. That does seem crazy.
Well, they're going to learn from this. The communication between the local police, who sort of had an idea, and then ultimately a man lifted himself up to the roof, could barely do it because he was pulling himself up, and he saw the man with the gun.
Yeah.
The man with the gun pointed the gun at him. He thought he was probably going to get shot, but he was like pulling himself up, and because of that he couldn't get to his gun, and he fell down. Actually, very badly hurt his leg, his ankle. I hear very badly, but he fell down, and he did. From what I understand, he did say there's a guy up there with a gun, and the shooting started very quickly after that. I think it forced the shooter to go maybe quicker. He was supposed to be a very good shot.
Yeah.
My sons,
Don
Don and Eric, they can't believe what happened, but they said from 130 yards, a bad shot would hit that target almost every time. They said it's like in golf, sinking a 2-foot putt.
Yeah, it's not a tough shot.
It's not a long shot.
Neither one of these men know anything about shooting a gun.
The Secret Service person had the long shot. He had a
honestly, I doubt they've ever actually fired a gun.
It was a
on the record
terrible
of being
thing.
afraid of
Look,
guns. I don't know that he's ever
it's
actually
hard.
fired one.
I have to say this
And I
about
doubt
the Secret
very
Service.
seriously
When I
Elon
went
Musk has ever
down,
fired one.
and I went
I may
down
be
based
wrong.
on I think
haven't
they're
actually looked
screaming,
into it, but I would be
but other
shocked
people
if
also,
they-
because people saw this happen.
Well, let's
you
put it
had
this
so
way. I
many
wouldn't be surprised to find
people.
out
One
that
of the
they've never
miracles was
actually
that
fired a
nobody
gun.
ran. I mean, if a gun goes off, the crowd control people showed us this. When guns go off, and it does happen in stadiums at a soccer match or some kind of a match, everybody flees. They call it a stampede, like cattle.
Well, actually,
but everybody, and a
most
lot of
people
people
don't even
get killed
recognize a
with a
gunshot when they
stampede.
hear it.
We had more people
Generally,
than you
they
had
don't. Most people
some
have
of
never
these
heard it.
matches
Wouldn't even know
or
it.
these games, and
They just hear a popping noise.
Nobody left.
They're like, "What's
you
that?"
had a small group behind us in the grandstand,
Being from
and that was full.
Appalachia,
and you look
really
at it
from
as it was taking
Appalachia,
place,
and
and
grew up
normally they'd be
shooting
running.
guns.
They didn't. They saw that I was
know what
hurt.
gunfire sounds
They
like,
saw a lot of
and
blood,
I also know what
and they saw
gunfire
that I
guns
went
can do
down.
to people.
And it's almost like they wanted to be with me. Well, out front, you had thousands, tens of thousands of people.
I've
as
seen
far
the
as the eye
pictures.
could
I've
see,
seen the
you had
videos from out
people in
front. They wouldn't
Buffalo,
hurt anybody
as
there.
far as the eye could see. And
No, there wasn't.
And and a lot
I've
of
seen a
press,
video where
too.
you
It
could
was,
see the
you know,
front
many
of the
cameras on
stadium he's
watching it.
standing in front
It's
of,
what
clearly
makes it
from
so
about
different, because normally
100 yards.
things happen that aren't good,
It was
but
almost
you
where the
never have a
shooter
picture
was.
of it. Here we have
Just from
all
the
these
parking lot.
cameras shooting
You
it.
could see
So,
the
you
front
know,
of
sort of
the
amazing.
podium
But
where he
one
was
of the
standing.
interesting things
There's
was
almost
that
nobody
you
there.
didn't have anybody flee. You didn't have anybody stampede.
Sure.
Nobody. And there were some
And
people
he's
behind me. They
talking
stood
like,
up and
oh,
they're
nobody
looking
ran
like,
off when
you
they
know,
heard
I mean,
gunfire.
say, you
You're saying your people are
wanna have them in
stupid.
a foxhole
Is
with you.
what
I want
you're
to meet some of those
saying.
people.
Sure,
Because it's so different from
Oh,
what
well,
you
they
know,
heard
but-
gunshots. They just stood there around like
so
a
I was
bunch of
down, but
lemmings.
the Secret Service
Yeah,
guys,
it- they
there
were
were
just standing
bullets
like,
flying right over my head. You could hear them go
what's going
whizzing.
on?
And,
What happened?
Yeah.
and these guys came jumping on top of me, you know, and a young lady, Kate.
And he's bragging on them for
Would
standing
jump,
there.
they moved so
Staring
fast.
off
and
blankly
let
into
me tell you,
space.
that
Some
took
of them pulled their
tremendous
phones out
courage.
trying to
There was a
record
lack
things.
of coordination.
Bullets flying through the air, and they're
You know,
trying to
obviously everybody
document
understands
it with their
that
phones.
somebody that building should have been covered. And
I mean, he is right about that. That building should have been covered.
I mean, looking
There
at
should
the
have been no
aerial
way
view,
somebody could have got
like
up on
that
that
building
roof
would
and
be like
fired.
the number one spot for a sniper.
That was
it's like the if you were to
severe
pick, like, what is
failure
the favorite
on
what
that.
if you so if the goal is to assassinate, what's your favorite spot? That building.
I think
That
they
building
just got
would be number
complacent.
one.
that would have been the spot.
It's like you couldn't ask for a better
no,
location.
Just
It's like
assumed
no,
that
that
there
would
would
have
be
been the
nobody
spot.
trying to shoot him.
You know what people think?
Especially
is one
somebody
of the,
that was one of his
local
supporters.
policemen,
Which
who, by
this
the way,
guy was,
was,
by the way.
you know, he really
They're leaving that part out of
he
there.
did what he was supposed to do. He couldn't hold on any longer. And then when he got his head just peeking above, this guy standing there with a gun at his head. And when he fell down, again, hurt his ankle very badly, but he was making the calls. But what happened is the firing took place very soon. So what they think is that this guy ran to his site, which he had all planned out with the gun. He ran to the site and he started shooting fast. And maybe that's why he sort of missed. I mean, you know,
from what I can
but he
tell,
got me,
you
but it
would
could
have
have
hit
been,
him.
I've seen
it could
other
have
people
been,
talk about he
could have
missed
been a
by a
much
lot.
bigger
If
problem.
you get hit by some sort of piece of
You
shrapnel
totally would
or
have
a
hit if
splinter
it
of
hadn't
a
been your
bullet,
head.
you
So
didn't get hit by
like
the
you
full
know there
bullet.
was a
Because if you
it
had,
was
you'd had a lot more
very near
damage than
thing.
It was
you
a
did.
miracle. If I hadn't turned my head,
yeah
I would not be talking to you right now. As much as I like you,
exactly
I would not.
yeah
I would not be talking to you.
maybe talking to me from another realm.
Yeah,
perhaps.
he
Yeah,
was talking
that's
about
right. We'd be
because
talking from a
he's trying to
different
gin up
place.
sympathy for
But
himself.
it was a, you know, it was a very terrible experience. The Butler
sure it was a
Hospital, they did such a
terrible
great job.
experience.
The doctors
doubt
were so
that.
good. Everybody was so good. There was a mistake.
You
If
didn't really get
somebody
hurt all that
knew,
much.
because people were hearing that, you know, there was just a bad feeling that there was somebody was around. You know that story now. It's been
Yeah.
And if somebody could have said, because they've oftentimes said, you know, like there'd be a lightning storm or something, because I've done, I think, over 300. I think I did a lot more than that, but we did a lot. And oftentimes they'll say, sir, could you wait 10 minutes, please? Sir, could you wait 20 minutes? There's a storm overhead or lightning or something, right? And that happens often. And this would have been a perfect time for that to have happened, but it didn't get coordinated. That was the problem.
I wonder how this affects his thing with the social, because he's supposed to be under contract with him not to do anything on other social media.
in the heat of a fire, and you know, like what I find admirable there was that you can't fake bravery under such circumstances. The courage is instinctual, or it is not. It's not a rehearsed action. And so I just want to say that I think a lot of people admire your courage under fire there. And so
thank you very much. I appreciate it. I didn't think of it. I just wanted to get up, and I wanted to stand up. I wanted to let people know. You know, I felt I was good when they were on top of me, covering me, actually, very much covering me. And
that's kind of their job.
But I wanted to get up. I said, I want to get up, and they wanted. You know, they have everything there. They wanted stretcher. I didn't like the stretcher, and I knew I was hit in the ear, but I knew I wasn't hit anywhere else. They felt I was hit someplace else because it was such a lot of blood, and they were sure that I was hit
wasn't that
someplace
much
else.
blood.
And they were saying, "Sir,
I've had nosebleeds that
you
have
were
more
hit
blood
more
than
than
that."
the ear." I said, "Nope, I was hit in the ear. I want to get up. Let me get up." And so I got up.
He did not have
And
this
the crowd
conversation.
didn't know what
This
to think.
did
I mean,
not
this
happen.
was so
I can guarantee
so
you
many
this didn't
people, and you could see they were confused. They didn't know what to think, and I wanted to let them know I was okay. It was very important for me to let
I
them know
believe that his followers
and they
were
went
confused.
wild. You
It
see
doesn't take much to
after-
confuse
They didn't go
I've
wild
seen
when
the
I got up
interviews.
because they didn't know was I alive. You really couldn't tell when I stood up before the hand, before the
Really?
the
No,
fist in
no,
the air.
we could tell you were alive.
they didn't know if I was alive.
Are they
Nobody
stupid?
did. And when I put the fist up, they were
got
just relieved
a sliver.
and happy and thrilled, and the place went crazy. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah.
It was
yeah, the handful of people there, they got real excited.
Incredibly moving, yeah. Well, and I mean, speaking of the sort of slide that got you to turn, that
of course, that might be why people aren't going to his rallies anymore. They're afraid of getting shot.
Legal immigration slide.
Maybe that's a possibility.
Maybe it's worth talking about that.
It was
that slide saved
you're
your
right.
life.
No, the illegal immigration saved my life. You're right, but and I had to be at that exact angle.
I mean, that's a great one. saved by illegal immigration.
You know the incredible thing though, when you talk about the odds, you had to be exactly at that angle. But the incredible thing is that the chart, I used it less than 20% of the time. It was just a moment.
Yeah.
It's always on my left, never my right, and it's always at the end of the speech. So here we have it. It's on the right, not the left.
So that
it's at the beginning, not the end.
Because he's running into
and even the people that put it up, they were
like
unprepared, and they did a great job. They got it up immediately, fortunately. But I looked to the right, and the bullet came whizzing by, hitting my ear.
Yeah, this is boring the crap
so
out of
it
people.
was amazing. But when you think of the odds of that, and you know that normally you wouldn't use it. Normally I wouldn't have the thing, and then it would have been a very different story. It's very much, I say, an act of God. It's a miracle that it happened, and I'm honored by it.
They're also
I'm honored
people
by
for
it.
money. Don't give these people. Don't give any money.
This
is not a campaign.
What were you about to say?
He literally
about
played the
immigration
Titanic's
before you were
theme
rudely
song.
interrupted?
Well, I was going to say how good the numbers were. By the way, we're going back to Butler.
How bad is the optics on
And
that?
we're going to go back in October. We're all set up, and
seems
the people are fantastic in Butler.
stupid.
It's a great area. These are incredible people. Like the three that, in the case of Corey killed, and the other two, the families are. I got to know them a little bit, and the families are great. But we're going back to Butler, and I think I'll probably start by saying, as I was saying, prior to being so horribly interrupted.
Yeah.
But
so rudely interrupted by an assassination attempt.
But the chart.
Some people have no manners.
Elon, the chart was just a chart that, in my last week, we had the best illegal immigration numbers, meaning stopping.
Going on?
It was at the lowest. You've seen the chart. It's become quite a famous chart.
Yeah.
But that was the lowest point ever recorded.
They started like
it was
what?
Really.
Is there a timer on this
I
thing?
mean, I was very proud of those numbers. And then you see what happened with these people, Kamala and Joe. You see what happened. They just let it go. I had remain in Mexico policies. I had all these different policies that were
They've been
so
going for
good.
15 minutes and he's still talking about
guys
this.
like Tom Holman and Brandon Judd from Border Patrol. These are all people that they've been on television. They said the best numbers we've ever had. We had so many different checks.
Literally took them 30
catch and
minutes
release
to get up and
in
going.
Mexico, not the United. We had catch and release in the United States. We had it in Mexico. We had so many things. We had things where if people, many people come in there, they have contagious diseases. We had everything passed. If you have a contagious disease, I'm sorry, but we cannot allow you into the country. So we were setting literally records, and all I was doing is showing that, and I use it sometimes, and in this case, I'm glad I used it. I can tell you that, but they were fantastic numbers. But I'm going to sleep with that chart always. I'll be sleeping with that chart. That chart was
just to let you
was very important. Very important for a lot of reasons.
Well, I mean, would it be accurate to say that you're supportive of legal immigration, but that
he's not
we
supportive
also
of any
need to
immigration.
shut down illegal immigration?
He actually
and
wants
especially
illegal
unvetted
immigration
illegal
because he
immigration
hires those
because
people all the time.
and that's not the same as saying that
he's
everyone
not
who is an
gonna fix
illegal
it.
immigrant is bad. In fact,
he doesn't want to
I think
fix
most people who are illegal immigrants are
Neither
actually
does
good,
Elon.
but
He
you
hires
can't
them
tell the
too.
difference unless there's a solid vetting of who comes across the border. Does that accurately represent your position?
I say it very simply. They have to come in legally. They have to be checked.
You are lying.
Look,
you don't care.
Kamala was the border czar. Now she's denying it. Everything that I do, she's saying she was strong on the border. We're going to be strong. Well, She doesn't have to say it. She could close it up right now. They could do things right now. It's horrible.
To her for some reason. But by the way,
no tax on tips, and all of a sudden she's making speeches, and there will be no tax on tips. I said that months ago. And by the way, they had just the opposite. You know, they had
done a really
not
good
only
job if
tax
she was
on
one in
tips,
charge of the border.
but they hired 88,000 IRS agents, and many of them were assigned to go get waitresses and caddies and all of this on tips. They have a policy. They had a policy that they were really going to go after you, and were really harassing people horribly. And then all of a sudden, for politics, she says, you know, she comes out with what I said, which I think is terrible. And I think it's also hitting them very hard.
Okay,
these people are fake. Now they're also saying they did a good job on the border. We had the worst numbers in the history of the world, not of our country. There's never been a country in history that has had a catastrophe like this. We've had, I believe, and I think you believe this too, you know, you hear 12 million, 13. I believe it's over 20 million people came into our country. Many coming from jails, from prisons, from mental institutions, or a bigger version of that is insane asylums. And many are terrorists. And I'll tell you what, they're coming not just from South America, they're coming from Africa, they're coming from all over the world. They're coming from Asia, they're coming from the Middle East, they're coming from countries that are
he has no
stupidly and horribly
making crap up.
Bombing Israel October 7th. They're coming from all over the world. And you know, you look at, it's so sad.
Did you say
October
bombing
7th,
Israel
it should have never
on
happened.
October 7th?
It's so sad
For
when you look
immigrants
at
that came to America?
It should have never happened. We have a defective government. These are defective people.
What?
And they're not people that should be running
What
it.
is he
But where you see
talking
it the
about?
best is the border. Because you have millions
So
of people coming
that
in
came
a month
to America
and then
across
he
the
gets up
border
and she tries to
illegally
pretend like
were the
she's
people
going to do
that
something.
attacked
She had 3.5
Israel
years.
on October
And by the way,
7th,
they have
according
another
to
5
Donald Trump.
months that they can do
This
something,
man's
but they won't
nuts.
do anything. It's all talk. He's
crazy.
incompetent and he's incompetent. And frankly, I think that she's more incompetent than he is. And that's saying something because he's not too good.
Yeah, no, I think it is essential to have a secure border. I mean, you're really not a country unless you have a secure border. And
border is secure.
And secure elections, too.
You know, yeah, absolutely, secure elections. And
the elections are
so
secure.
It's just essential to have a real border,
or
we can't function as a country, and our service, you know, our central services are being overwhelmed in a lot of cities. But as we were talking about earlier, I think having a legal immigration process that is smooth and efficient and done well, and I, you know, speaking as someone who is a legal immigrant,
we need to make it better.
And
jobs
I
program
think
would probably make that work a lot easier.
like one way to think of it is, who do you want on your team? You know, who do you want on Team America? And I think we want to just say, okay, we want to let in people who are going to, you know, be great contributors to our society and to our economy, and you know, and who do you want on the team? And it's not to say that, like in my opinion, actually, I'd say like probably most of the illegal immigrants actually are actually good, hardworking people. That's my opinion. But some are not, and you just have this sort of adverse selection process where, you know, if somebody's, you know, if somebody's like, you know, has a career in theft or robbery, I don't understand what's taken them so long to get here, because we're such a target-rich environment.
If I actually post anything on,
I mean, you know,
X,
why aren't more people who have a career in, you know, bad things coming here sooner? Because it's a piece of cake to go
We
rob,
like good things. We hate bad
as in,
things.
LA
We don't
or
have
New
any
York,
actual policy
compared to other parts of the world.
Which is what he's
And
actually saying here.
and in a lot of places in America, if you try to stop the person who's robbing you, you'll be arrested. So
it's right. I mean, what's happening with crime, and our police are so good, but they're not allowed to do their job. But I have to tell you, Elon, I hate to say, because it's such a downer to say it. I hate to say it. I hate it, but you have a lot of people that just shouldn't be. I think it's a much bigger number than you think. They're allowing, again, they're allowing people from their jails. And if you were running one of these countries where they're coming from, you would have had all of them.
They're not coming from jails.
As an example, Venezuela, their crime is down 72%. They're taking their drug dealers. They're taking, frankly, their prisoners. They're emptying out their prisons. They're taking their criminals, their murderers, their rapists.
That's not happening.
They're delivering them into.
But that's what Castro did.
Yeah, well, he did on a much smaller scale.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh my God, what
much
the hell
smaller
is this,
scale.
man?
But this is a massive scale because this is being done worldwide.
No,
but
it's
here's
not.
what's happening: crime all over the world is down, and wait till you see the numbers that we have.
About?
You know, this is migrant crime. This is crime that's going to be. And I saw it today in New York where somebody was knifed with raped the girlfriend of a man that stood there watching in New York in one of the shelters and started pulling out the knives, and bad things happened today. But this is happening every day. These are rough people. These are people that are in jail for murder and all sorts of things. And they're releasing them into our country, and they're telling them, if you come back, we're going to kill you. We're going to give you the death penalty or kill you. So they don't want to come back. But these are rough people.
Yeah.
These are criminals that make our criminals look like nice people. And it's horrible what they're doing. And she's in charge of it because, you know, now she's trying to say she had nothing to do with it. And she's such a liar because she was called the border czar the first day, and it was on the headlines of every newspaper. She's the border czar, and she never even went there. She went to one location which had nothing to do with where the problem is. You know, she went in and out, I guess, because she was getting a lot of pressure, but had nothing to do with the problem is. But she was the border czar, and people can't allow them to get away with their distance. Now she's trying to say that she wasn't really involved, and the whole thing is horrible. She was totally in charge. She could have shut the border down without him. He didn't know what he was doing anyway, so he wouldn't have even known what happened. You could shut the border down. He wouldn't even know the difference. But the fact is that she was border czar. But if you don't have to call her that. The fact is you could just call her, she was in charge of the border, and the border was the worst ever.
It's simply not working.
No, it's horrible.
Whether it's a question of intention or competence, either way, we don't have a secure border, and we have people streaming over like it looks like a World War Z zombie apocalypse at times. And you know, sometimes you got to sort of wonder, like, is it real or not? So because you see things, you're like, is it real? So I went to the border at Eagle Pass, and I saw for myself in Texas, and I was like, okay, it's real. I'm like seeing this in real time. I actually posted the video like just live. I just flew there one day and just to see, hey, is this made up or real? And I'm just seeing people stream across the border. And and I have to say, you know, at least the people that I saw did not look friendly. You know,
these are
people can look at my video and say, hey, you know, these people look friendly. I don't look super friendly. So
these are people that Elon would not be the same man if he had to walk across the street and look these people in the eye. These are rough people. These are really rough people coming across. And I know rough people. And these are people that we don't want in our country. And, you know, the caravans are coming in, and they're putting...
Oh, the caravans are back.
Who's doing this are the heads of the countries. And you would be doing it, and so would I. And everyone would say, oh, what a terrible thing to say. The fact is, it's brilliant for them because they're taking all of their bad people, really bad people. And I hate to say this, the reason the numbers are much bigger than you would think is they're also taking their non-productive people. Now, these aren't people that will kill you. We have enough of them. But these are people that are non-productive. They are just non-productive. I mean, for whatever reason. They're not workers, or they don't want to work, or whatever. And these countries are getting rid of non-productive people in the caravans in many cases. And they're also getting rid of their murderers and their drug dealers and the people that are really brutal people. And they're coming into our country at levels that have never been seen before. And I saw an ad just before I got on the air. I'm walking over here, and I saw an ad by Kamala saying how she is going to provide border security. Where has she been for 3.5 years? For 3.5 years.
Yeah, no.
She's been working on border statistics and numbers.
Yeah, I think this, frankly, I think this is a fundamental existential issue for the United States. And if we have another 4 more years of open borders, and it's going to be even worse with another 4 more years, it's going to be even worse than it's been for the past 3.5 years. I'm not sure we've got a country.
You don't have a country.
Number of encounters.
Elon,
encounters means
if they get in, you will have 50 to 60 million people from all over the world, not South America only. You know, we think of South America, we think of Honduras and El Salvador, Guatemala, and Mexico.
Okay,
you know, the four. But it's not that. It's everywhere. They're coming in from everywhere. And I had to stay in Mexico.
Yeah, I think this is a super important point. Like people, it's like basically when I went down there, I was like, well, where are people from? It's like almost no one was from Mexico.
No, Mexico left.
It's just the border. It's just the border with Mexico. But the people coming in, it's Earth, the rest of Earth, and America is only about 4 or 5% of the population of Earth. It would only take a few percent of the rest of Earth to overwhelm everything.
We're already overwhelmed, Elon. We're overwhelmed. You had to see the news tonight about New York, and I love that place. And what they're doing to it is horrible. What they're doing to it, and all the courts do is they try and focus on Trump. Okay, let's focus on Trump, who did nothing wrong. I complain about a rigged election. Elon, what's happened is unbelievable. You have from Africa, from the Congo, they're coming, from the Congo. And 22 people came in from the Congo recently, and they're murderers. And they're dropped them, they drop them, they take them out of jails, which is very expensive, you know, to maintain the jails. They don't do too much maintaining, I can tell you. But they take them out of jails, prisons, they take them out, and they bring them to the United States. They deposit them in the United States and say, don't ever come back or you're going to be executed. And they don't want to come back. But they won't come back.
Sure.
But they're coming from Africa. They're coming from Asia. They're coming from the Middle East. They're coming from South America.
Well,
they're coming from everywhere.
Earth,
and there are a lot of really bad ones.
It's just an everywhere on Earth thing, and it's just not possible for the United States to absorb, you know, everyone from Earth or you know, even a few percent of the rest of Earth. It's just not possible. So,
well, Elon, we're going to have.
He said they're coming from all over the earth.
Finish this up. We're going to have the largest deportation in history of this country, and we have no choice. Otherwise, we're going to have a country. What they've done to our country. Think of it. With you know, in Venezuela and in some of these other countries, crime is down 50, 60, 70, 80%. And you would be the same. You would have. I'll tell you what. Venezuela has not gotten rid of all of them. They've gotten rid of about 70% of their really bad people. Their jails are about 50% put into the United States. The same with other countries. Some are at 30%. Some are at 50%. They're all different. But the bottom line is they're all going to be at 100%. Why wouldn't you put 100% of it? And they're doing it right now while this third-rate phony candidate. Don't forget, I beat Biden. He failed in the debate miserably, and you know, some people said, "Oh, gee, it's too bad. It's too bad he did so badly," or "I did well in the debate." You know, the first night they said, "Wow." One of the people at CNN said that was the greatest debate performance I've ever witnessed. And then 2 days later, they didn't talk about that. They just said he was bad. But that's okay. That's the way I get treated, and I don't mind that at all. What I can tell you is this. We cannot have a Democrat. We cannot have her. She's incompetent. She's as bad as Biden in a different... Look, she hasn't done an interview since this whole scam started. And say what you want. This was a coup. This was a coup of a president of the United States. He didn't want to leave, and they said, we can do it the nice way, or we can do it the hard way.
I mean, they just took him out back behind the shed and basically shot him.
What they did with this guy, and I'm no fan of his, and he was a horrible president, the worst president in history. And one of the reasons he was so bad, first of all, the Israeli attack would have never happened.
She actually did
Russia would never have
I
attacked Ukraine,
so she's
and we'd have no inflation. And we wouldn't have had the Afghanistan mess, if you think of it. And we wouldn't have had Afghanistan. But we think of it. You take a few of those events away, and we have a different world. We would also have no inflation was caused by oil.
I've seen her talking. To
people. I think you make an excellent point here, which is that when other countries can, that are are thinking about invading or doing bad things, when they're thinking about that, they're thinking about, okay, what's the American president going to do? And do they fear the American president, or is there someone they do not respect and do not fear? And I think they would rightfully be. I mean, look at the footage of the assassination. They're like, okay, President Trump is like, don't mess with me. I mean, that's like. I think people are not going to be, they obviously have not been at all intimidated by Biden.
Right there.
And they certainly will not be intimidated by Kamala. And you have to really think of that in the context
they will.
of global security.
would actually do stuff, and they do respect her.
If the American president is someone that, like, evil dictators are scared of, that makes a huge difference.
They're not scared of Trump. They think he's an idiot.
So I had a good relationship with Putin, despite the Russia hoax that lasted for over 2 years.
Yeah, you had a good relationship with him. He
created by Hillary Clinton and Adam Schiff, some just bad people, just sick people, frankly. I mean, Schiff is a sick person. He's going to end up probably being a senator. It's hard to believe. The whole thing is hard to believe. But they put our country in danger with that stuff too. They actually, when they make up stories, and you have to fight your way out of it for a long time. But I know Putin very well. I got along with him very well. He respected me, and it's just one of those things.
No, he didn't.
We would talk a lot about Ukraine. It was the apple of his eye. But I said, don't ever do it. Don't ever do it. I shut down Nord Stream 2. That was the big oil pipeline, the biggest pipeline in the world, going all over Europe. I shut it down. Biden came, and then they say, I loved Russia. I was a friend of Putin, and I loved Russia. No, he actually said to me one time, he said, if you're my friend, I'd hate to see you as an enemy. I shut down his pipeline, the biggest pipeline. They were looking at that to fund, and this pathetic president gets in there, and the first thing he did, one of the early things he did, is he shut down Keystone XL pipeline, which is our pipeline that would have employed 48,000 people, pipeline workers, shuts it down. That was, a massive job that Obama refused to allow. Yeah. I allowed it in my first week because it was jobs and it moved oil. And by the way, in a much more environmentally friendly way. It's underground. It's not a truck that catches on fire or a train that catches on fire. But think of it. He shut down the XL pipeline, the Keystone XL pipeline. Yeah. He shuts that down. He's making a joke about Trump. Approves the Russian pipeline.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. It's inconsistent. Certainly, but I mean, I think it's just worth emphasizing, to listeners the immense importance of whether the United States president is intimidating or not intimidating, and how much that matters to global security. Because there's some real tough characters out there, and if they don't think the American president is tough, they will do what they want to do.
I know every one of them.
And that puts the whole world in danger.
Elon, I know every one of them, and I know them well. I know Putin, I know President Xi, I know Kim Jong-un of North Korea. I know every one of them. And let me tell you, people say, this is terrible. He said, I'm not saying anything good or bad. They're at the top of their game. They're tough, they're smart, they're vicious,
and there he is praising
and they're going to protect their country. Whether they love their country, they probably do. It's just a different form of love, but they're going to protect their country. But these are tough people at the top of their game. And when they see a Kamala or when they see Biden, Sleepy Joe, they can't even believe it. They can't believe this happened. All the stuff that you're seeing now, all the horror that you look at Israel, they're all waiting for an attack from Iran. Iran would not be attacking, believe me. When I was there, and I say it with respect, because I think we would attack good with Iran. I don't want to do anything bad to Iran, but they knew not to mess around. Iran was broke because I told China, if you buy from Iran oil, it's all about the oil. That's where the money is. But if you buy oil from Iran, you're not going to do any business with the United States. And I meant it. And they said, we'll pass. Yeah. They didn't buy oil. Other countries, likewise. Sure. You want to buy, you're not doing business with the United States. And they were at a point where they had no money for Hamas. They had no money for Hezbollah. They had no money for any of these instruments of terror. And it was amazing. In fact, there were articles when I was leaving, which is hard to believe, actually, especially when you look at what's happened to our country. Our country is so bad right now. It's such a different place. We were respected. Think of it. 4 years ago, we were so respected to a point where when I said don't buy oil, they didn't buy oil. But they had no money. And Israel would have never been attacked. Zero chance. And again, I said to Vladimir Putin, I said, don't do it. You can't do it, Vladimir. You do it, it's going to be a bad day. You cannot
did not say
do it.
Any such thing.
And I told him things that what I do, and he said, no way. And I said, way. And it's the last time we ever had the conversation.
Oh, really?
He would
you
never.
I
got along
Putin
well with him. I hope to get along well with him again.
To believe that.
Getting along well with them is a good thing, not a bad thing. I got along well with Kim Jong-un. When I met with President Obama,
It's funny,
just
you got
before
along with
entering,
all
you know,
of
it's
the
sort of a ritual.
dictators and the
And I
authoritarians,
sat down with him
but you
and we
can't get
talked. It
along
was
with
supposed to be for a
any
very
of our
short period of
allies.
time. It turned out to be a long period of time. I said, what's the biggest problem? He said, North Korea. I had that problem worked out very quickly. It was nasty at the beginning.
No, you
with
didn't.
Rocket Man and, you know, all the different things.
It's
But
worse now
all of a
because
sudden
of the
I got a call.
stuff you did.
With some epic tweets, by the way.
Yeah, they
Those
were no,
like
they were
absolutely-
epic everything. He said that he has a red button on his desk. I said, I have a red button on my desk too, but my red button is much bigger and my red button works. And then I called him
Yeah.
Little Rocket Man of Little Rocket Man. Anyway, here's the bottom line. All of a sudden I got a call from him
Really?
and they said they want to meet. They want to meet me. And we met,
Yeah.
as you remember, we met in Singapore. We
Yeah,
met
and
also
you
in
caused
Vietnam.
all kinds of problems
And
by doing that.
I got along with them great. We were
Yeah.
in no danger. But
Yeah,
President
you,
Obama, President
you
Obama
set
thought
this
we
up
were
really
going to end
well.
up in
Yeah.
a war, a nuclear war with him. And let me tell you,
We
he's
weren't
got a lot
in
of
danger of
nuclear
any
stuff.
fucking
He's
nuclear
got
war.
plenty
There's
of
no way
nuclear.
they were going to ever
He can do
attack
plenty
us.
of damage.
If they attacked us, they
Yeah,
know that
I mean, it's because
he knew that
you know,
we
I mean,
would
people
completely
Kim Jong Un,
erase
they
his
respond
country
to
from
strength,
existence.
not weakness.
Well,
and
he,
They're
he
not
and
that-
I got
it's
he
not
and I
that
had a good
stupid.
relationship.
you know, you're,
Remember,
Yeah.
I met him and we walked onto his land. Nobody ever walked onto his land before. I walked onto. I wouldn't say.
Yeah,
Let's bring
that
up
was cool.
Secret Service again. I wouldn't say they were thrilled when I did that. I walked onto his land, and it was an amazing period. But we were not in danger with him because of me. You know, I always
Yeah.
say that we have enemies on the outside and we have enemies on the inside. We have some really bad people in our government and people that are, and controlling of the people. I mean, I'd mention names, but I really don't want to give them the credit. But we have some really bad, and I say they're more dangerous than Russia and China. If you have a smart president, a president that gets it, we are not in danger from those countries because they need us and they need our help. I mean, we forced Obama, if you think about it, Obama and Biden, and Bush to a certain extent, in all fairness, forced Russia and China together. And if you're a history student, the first thing you learn is you cannot let Russia and China align. But then they also got, if you take a look, Iran, and they have North Korea. That's, you know, they call it the axis of evil. In the old days, you had the axis of evil. Here we have a modern day axis of evil. These are powerful countries, very heavy nuclear, which is the biggest threat.
Yeah.
You know, the biggest threat is not global warming, where the ocean's going to rise 1/8 of an inch over the next
They turn
400
this stuff
years.
off. I think
The
they
big, and
changed
you'll have
this
more.
real bad.
You'll have more oceanfront property, right? The biggest threat is not that. The biggest threat is nuclear warming, because we have 5 countries now that have significant nuclear power,
I wanna look at
and
that. I
we
swear
have
I
to
can't.
not allow anything to happen with stupid people like Biden. You know, Biden did something with
I'm
Russia.
listening, but I can't see
There was
the
no
comments
chance of him
when
ever
you see
going
the
in. And when I left, and then
comments.
then
I've
after I
really
left,
been
they
on
started
Exit forever.
forming big armies on the border with Ukraine, right? And I looked at that, and I thought he was doing that because Putin's a good negotiator. I thought he was doing that to negotiate. But then Biden started saying such stupid things. For instance, he said that it can be a NATO country. Now, Russia, for as long as there's been NATO, has said we're never going to agree to that. And we go right up front and say that. And we did things and said things through this president with a low IQ, very low IQ. He had a low IQ 30 years ago, by the way, but now he might not even have a IQ at all. There's nothing on the board that goes this low. He said things that were so stupid that war would have been, that war had zero chance of happening if I were there. Zero chance. He was saying everything the opposite. Everything the opposite. And it's so sad because many more people have been killed in Ukraine than you read about. You don't read about how bloody it is and how disastrous.
Sure.
Hey, look, just in the 2 armies, you lost
Comments.
a
Why
500,000
is that? I
people.
can't see the comments.
And,
Yeah.
Just hide 'em.
and you know, Ukraine's having a hard time. Ukraine,
what
I don't know if
people
you
are
saw
saying.
the article recently, and it's true. You don't hear the true story. But if you think about it, Russia's gone, you know, Russia defeated Germany with us, and they defeated Napoleon. You know, they've been around a long time. They're a big fighting force.
Yeah. So-
And it's very unfair. And Ukraine now doesn't have enough men. They're now using young men and very old men to fight. And we're in a very bad position. And
Here we go.
I'm not going to blame exclusively, but I can tell you I could have stopped that. And a smart president could have stopped that. It wouldn't have happened.
Stop.
But
Get a room.
we had a man that actually made it.
Let's see what we got here.
It made it more prevalent. It was so bad. The words that he was using, the stupid threats coming from a stupid face that he was using. I said, this guy's going to cause us a war. He's going to cause us. And let me tell you, it can lead to World War III. That can lead to World War III. The Middle East can lead to. We have numerous places that could end up in a World War III right now for no reason whatsoever.
I think you're right. I think people underrate the risk of World War III.
You should have Twitter.
When you're looking at the risk of global thermonuclear warfare, it's game over for humanity.
Mumbling.
And, it's something that people have, I think, after the end of the Cold War, people have become complacent about, but they actually have forgotten that there are currently a lot of nuclear missiles that have target parameters for the United States.
And one of the things we're going to do is we're going to build an Iron Dome over it.
I'm going to record some
Israel
of these.
has
This
it.
is good.
We're going to have the best Iron Dome in the world. We need it, and we're going to make it all in the United States.
Maybe he'll let you use
we're going to have
his
protection.
side.
Because it just takes one maniac to, start something. We're going to have protection. And we're going to have. Why shouldn't we have an Iron Dome? Israel has one.
He's talking like
Some other places have one that nobody even knows about, frankly. But Israel has it. We're going to have an Iron Dome. But with all of that being said, to me that's so important, the most important. But with all of that being said, the election's coming up, and the people want to hear about the economy. And the fact that they can't buy groceries because they don't have enough money to buy groceries. The inflation has killed them. Food prices are up 50, 60, even 100% in some cases. And this stupid administration allows this to happen.
I mean,
and it's
he
a
just
shame.
makes stuff up.
And that's the thing that people most care about, in my opinion. They care about the border a lot. And we discuss the border at great length. It's nice to have a forum like this where I can discuss something at length. And by the way, you think Biden could do this interview? Do you think that Kamala could do this interview? They would take a pass on you.
He's still going on about Biden.
Elon.
You're not running against
Biden. Elon screaming out questions.
You're running against Kamala, and she'll kick the crap out of you.
Somebody that does this for a living can't answer a question or is afraid to do an interview. And in her case, with a very friendly interview, she's got all friendly interviewers. It's pretty
Yes, absolutely.
But the big thing now is the economy, Elon. And as much as I view nuclear as the single most important thing. But a lot of people don't understand that. But it doesn't have to. If I understand it, that's all you need. Because if I was president, you're not going to have that kind of a problem. But the thing that they really is making them angry is what Kamala and Biden have allowed to happen to the economy. It's a disaster.
The economy's actually
with
doing
inflation.
really good.
The inflation. It doesn't matter what
under
you
control,
make.
and it was
the
caused
inflation
by
is keeping you alive. If you're a worker or if you're just a middle-income person, you can't afford. 4 years ago, 5 years ago, people were saving a lot of money. Today, they're using all their money and
4 years ago,
money
people
just
weren't
to live.
making any money.
It's a horrible thing that's happening, and we'll end that quickly.
Well, I think a lot of people just don't understand where inflation comes from. Inflation comes from government overspending because the checks never bounce when it's written by the government. So if the government spends far more than it brings in, that increases the money supply, and if the money supply increases faster than the rate of goods and services, that's inflation. So really,
Elon doesn't know how inflation works.
We need to reduce our government spending, and we need to re-examine. I think we need like a government efficiency commission.
Hey, how about we cut the
where are we
subsidies
spending
to
money that's sensible? Where is it
Tesla?
not sensible? And we need to live within our means. We're currently adding, I think, $1 trillion to the deficit roughly every 100 days.
That's right.
And the interest payments on the national debt have now exceeded the defense budget. It's on
you know
the order
who
of $1 trillion.
$8 trillion to that national
I
debt?
rebuilt our military.
Donny boy.
Totally rebuilt our military.
That
Did a
was
great
his,
job on it, which was so important. We had jets, we had fighters that were
no, we don't miss you,
and
Donald.
bombers that were 70 years old, and we did a great job in that. Then we gave 85 billion of it back to Afghanistan, if you can believe it. We gave them 85 billion. They're one of the largest sellers of military equipment in the world. They're selling what we gave them. that was one of the most embarrassing days in the history of our country.
There's the
But
anti-vaxxer.
if you think about, let's go back to the economy.
Okay, why is Trump
We have to
slurring
bring
his
energy
words?
prices down.
He
Energy
always
started
slurs his
it.
words. You
The
never
price
listen to
of
the man speak.
gasoline.
He slurs
Now,
his
you
words
guys
all
don't
the time.
require too much gasoline.
He can barely
You-
talk.
You have a good, and you do make a great product, I have to say. I have to be honest with you.
Thank
That
you.
doesn't mean everybody should have an electric car, but these are minor details. But your
gun
product
shooting
is
at you
incredible.
both.
But
Let's
the
finish
gasoline,
this.
Elon, is
don't know what that means.
the cost of energy. Not only gasoline, it's the cost of heating your house and cooling your house. That has
Sure.
to come down. It's gone up 100%, 150, and 200%, and that has to come down. When that comes down, and we're going to
Yeah.
drill, baby,
And
drill.
we'll get-
You know, they stopped drilling, and then they went back
He's
to
going
drilling
about
because
talking about
they
drilling.
went back to
We're
the
producing
Trump
more
policy.
oil
But
now
if they
than we
won,
have
the day
ever.
after they get into
So
office,
drilling ain't going to help anything.
we're gonna this country
He has
will go
no
out of
actual
business because
policy
they're
to
going to go to
bring
an
down
energy
inflation
policy
or the cost of
that's not
anything.
sustainable.
Because he
Wind
doesn't understand
and
how
different
any
things.
of it works.
You're not going to have anything.
Yeah.
'Cause he's a
and I
moron.
know you're a big fan of the AI, and I have to say
Yeah.
that
And he doesn't know what AI is
this
either.
is shocking to me, but AI requires twice the energy that the country already produces for everything. So you're going
What
to have
the
to
hell?
build. We're going to have to build a lot of energy if
What is
our
he
country
talking
will be
about?
competitive with China, because that's our primary competitor for this on the AI.
Well, he's-
You're going to
they're
need a
talking
lot of
about why is he
electricity.
talking
You're going
this
to need
bleeding? It's
tremendous
'cause his dentures are
electricity,
falling
like
out.
almost double what we produce now for the whole country, if you can believe it.
Well, I'm on YouTube, so
Sure.
hey, check me out.
Well, just
I'm-
going,
I'm
back to this,
responding to
like
this crazy
this basic thing, which that people try to make it sound complicated, but it's not. But inflation is caused by government
Right.
overspending.
Inflation is not caused by governmental spending
that we
alone.
need to take
There's
a look
other
at government
factors.
spending and have perhaps a government efficiency commission that just tries to make the spending sensible, and so the country lives within its means, just like a person
The
does.
waste is incredible, and nobody negotiates prices. You used to have a lot of people making jets, and you end up with two companies, and they'll probably try and merge at some
Well,
point.
they said he should stick to
I
cars.
mean,
Well, he doesn't know
I
anything
went
about cars
through it.
either, so.
Like Air Force, just a thing like Air Force One. One of the first documents they asked me to sign in General Walks said, "Sir, will you
Isn't
please
this
sign
kinda
this
like
document?"
child
What
abuse?
is it?
Yeah,
Air
it's
Force
kinda,
One. That's with
I think they
Boeing,
call it elder
which is
abuse.
basically two
Or
planes,
senior
two
abuse, something along
747s.
those lines.
And the price was
Yeah.
$5.7 billion for two planes. Now,
Wow.
now they're highly sophisticated.
That's insane.
They're even nicer than your plane,
Oh, yeah.
okay? But much more
my mother just said
sophisticated.
she
They're
can't
very.
understand
I
what's
won't
being
say
said.
what's
I
on
don't
it, but they
know.
got a lot of stuff on it. Anyway,
well,
but it's
Trump's rambling
5.7.
it.
That's a
hard to
crazy
It's a
number.
crazy number, but I said, I'm not going to pay 5.7. I'm not going to do it. I said, who made the deal? Obama and his people. I said, well, then I know the deal's no good. I'm not going to do it. And over a course of about 4 weeks, by my saying I'm not going to do it, I got the price reduced by $1.6 billion for the exact same plane, other than we had a nicer paint job, if you want to know the truth. But for the exact same plane, I saved one. And I said to Boeing, man, you guys must make a lot of money if you can reduce the price by that. But now what I do hear is that they're going back to the Biden administration and wanting big cost overruns, because they see these
I don't know how my
dopey
sound
suckers
is.
in there, and they'll end up getting some of the money back. But I shaved it by $1.6 billion for the exact same plane. And you can now take that and multiply that out times thousands of other items.
Multiply it by
Yeah,
a
the
zillion.
numbers are
Yeah, I've been trying to work on my
astronomical. I
sound
agree
on
with
this
you.
thing. Let's see if
Well,
I can.
I mean, I think it would be great to just have a government efficiency commission that takes a look at these things and just ensures that the taxpayer money, to the taxpayers' hard-earned money, is spent in a good way. And I'd be happy to help out on such a commission.
I'd love
if
it.
it were formed.
Well, you're the greatest cutter. I mean, I look at what you do. You walk in and you just say, you want to quit? They go on
Yeah.
strike. I won't mention the name of the company, but they go on strike and you say, that's okay, you're all gone. You're all gone. So everyone.
Okay,
is
he
gone,
just
and
come
you
out
are the
against
greatest. You would be
unions,
very good.
okay.
Oh, you would love it. But if you look at Argentina.
Well, I'd be happy to
Yeah,
help
by the way,
out.
congratulations.
Yeah.
I just looked at the number of people that are listening to you and I chat. We'll call it a chat. But
Yeah.
congratulations. This is very good. I mean, it's great. And you're an interesting character. The new head of a place called Argentina, and he's a big,
Malay's awesome.
he's great. And
Yeah.
he's a big MAGA fan, that. He ran on MAGA. And he took it to an extreme too. He ran on MAGA, and I hear he's doing really a terrific job. It's called Make Argentina Great Again. It worked out perfectly. He came in, he bought a lot of hats. He brought other.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make sure that people can hear me over top of the idiot.
I'm hearing they're starting to do pretty well. Inflation's getting down. You know, they had like 1,000%. They had inflation like not normal inflation. They had the real deal. But we're going to have that pretty soon. I think we have the worst inflation we've had in 100 years. They say it's 48 years. I don't believe it. I think we have the worst. They don't include a lot of the items that should be included. You know. Yeah.
Currently, inflation is at like I think 3%, something like that, 4%. It's close to what it was when he was president before COVID.
And what Milei is doing is, you know, he's cutting government spending. He's simplifying things. He's putting in regulations that make sense. And Argentina overnight is experiencing a giant improvement in prosperity. But it's also a lesson for the United States, which is that
Now let's see.
Argentina used to be one of the most prosperous countries in the world.
Argentina economy.
In the 30s, 40s, and because of bad government policy, it ruined the country. And if you take Venezuela, for example, Venezuela should be incredibly prosperous. They have phenomenal reserves of everything, oil, everything, and
Argentina.
Prosperous, but if the government's wrong, it impoverishes the people. And so I think we should not be complacent in the United States and thinking that and taking our prosperity for granted, because if with bad government policy, we can run the country to the ground, and that's just something people should bear in mind. Don't take prosperity for granted.
Well, think of education. So we're ranked at the bottom of every list of the top 40. We're ranked number 40, number 38. Norway, Switzerland, Sweden, different countries are ranked good. Actually, China's pretty close to the top. They're a top 6 or 7. But we're ranked at the bottom, almost at the bottom, 38, 39, 40. In other words, horrible. And yet we spend...
Yeah, they have a GDP of 1.1.
And what I'm going to do...
That's what these two idiots are bragging about, by the way.
Musk. I need somebody that has a lot of strength and courage and smarts. I want to close up Department of Education, move education back to the states where...
He wants to do away with public education, is what he's saying.
With states like Idaho, you know, not every state will do great. Because states that basically aren't doing good now, you look at...
Trump is now saying that he's wanting to do away with education, or at least public education, so that poor people's kids don't get educated. If you do away with the Department of Education, you do away with all kinds of special needs programs for children with special needs.
20 of them will be as good as Norway. You know, Norway's considered great.
If you do away with the Department of Education, you're definitely not going to hit the levels of Norway. And he apparently doesn't know how Norway's education system works.
You know, we have states that don't know what debt is. We have states that have low taxes, no debt, everybody working. You know, they're really well run. And maybe they have certain
I don't know of any state that doesn't have debt.
the land or the sun.
He really doesn't know what he's talking about.
Advantages to some people, but if you move education back to the 50, you'll have some that won't do well, but they'll actually be forced to do better.
Oh, he wants to go back to the 50s.
If you think about it, you'll have some of these states. I'll bet you'd have 30, 35 states. It'll be much better, and you know what it'll cost? Less than half what it is in Washington. And these people don't care about students in these, faraway states, and it'll be unbelievable.
Yeah, I think you're making a good point in that if the states have to if each state has to compete against other states, then people will naturally move to states where it's better.
Well, like California, as we said, it's a badly run state. I could go through. I got so many friends that are in those states, even if they're Democrats. I hate to mention certain states, but Illinois is badly run with Pritzker. He's a real loser. But some of these places are just badly run. But it's almost going to force them to run better, and they won't do good initially. But
Basically, he's wanting to defund all of our education system.
You would cut your cost by 50 or 60%. And you have a little monitor. You know, you want to make sure they're teaching English as an example. You know, give us a little English, right?
Sure.
Right.
No. I mean, you do it too. I mean, some of these governors are doing so badly. I mean,
I don't think this one's accurate.
they should get U-Haul sales.
Consider Florida is banning books.
Cutting so much fuel.
It's actually
It's
amazing.
just people moving out.
Isn't it amazing to you as a businessman that they can even survive? Like Illinois, so many people are leaving, and you wonder
Yeah, that
how
don't
do they
seem right.
survive? I mean, how do they survive?
Let's see what we got here.
I saw when you left California.
They are ranked higher than I would give them credit for.
But
Oh, in higher education. Number 10 in elementary
when
school.
big businesses, a big oil company just left California, as you know, and they moved to Texas.
Okay, that makes more
How
sense.
do these big states survive when they lose so many businesses and their taxes are already really high? You know, their taxes are among the highest.
I'm in Virginia. We are number 9.
How do they
I can see 20 in
in
that.
many
Yeah, I can
cases,
see
the
that.
governors don't do a good job and they're crime-ridden places. You wonder, how do they continue to just go on? It's not a good situation.
I think the only thing that's going to force some of these states to change is if there was bankruptcy and they're not getting bailed out by the federal government.
Right. Well,
So Elon wants to let states go bankrupt because he doesn't want to pay taxes.
sticky fingers and it's still a lot of money. And they went
Remember that Elon and Trump want your state to go bankrupt.
Now it's probably the most popular place in all of California. So you know, at some point.
Trump just said there were states with no debt.
But the problem is, you can't penalize people that loan money to the state when you have incompetent people like a Pritzker. Look, the family didn't want him in the family business, and then he ends up being governor of Illinois. So you know what? Is he going to be a great governor? And,
Let's see, the lowest debt per capita. That's per capita.
And some are very good, and some are just horrible.
Well, California has a high debt, but then again, they make a lot of money, so that's expected.
A lot of people concerned about inflation. And inflation is effectively a tax on people that save money and for people.
Well, in North Dakota, they don't have any, they don't spend any money. Well, ain't nobody there either.
If we can solve the government's bank problem, we'll solve the inflation problem, which means people will have a better standard of living, and that's a really big
Well,
deal.
the people that got hurt worse are the people that did it the way they were taught to do it all through, you know, their younger life and their young life and their whole life.
So the guy doesn't pay his bills.
Money, and then they got no interest on their money, and inflation destroyed them. And frankly, they were almost better off if they didn't do anything like that. I mean, those people have been absolutely decimated, and we're going to bring those people back and help those people. We've got to get the prices down. You know, when I look at bacon costing 4 or 5 times more than it did a few years ago, when you look at some of the food products and grocery stores, people know they can't believe it. They used to be able to buy a whole cart, and today, you know, a lot of people just don't have the money. They go in and they can't buy anything. They look at, it's sticker shock. They call it sticker shock, right?
I think it really just comes back to, I think it just comes down to really, I guess it's really two things, which is that if you solve government overspending, you solve inflation, which
Okay, Trump just said bacon was 5 times higher than it was when he was in office. Let's look at that. Bacon average price in 2019 was $5.61. In 2022, it was $7.31 on average. Let's see what the other rows. We got the other rows here. Let's get down here see if we can find what it is. Okay, 2022 is the last thing they put, and I don't see anything currently. And just out of curiosity, let's pull up Walmart.
We did more deregulation and more restrictions
Official
on
site.
different businesses than any other president. Remember I had the rule for every one we put in, you have to get rid of 10 or 12. And we did.
Let's see what the price of bacon is on this site.
Being put back by this administration. And we did radical cuts.
Okay, here we go. Bacon. I'm going to go with Hormel. They're probably one of the more expensive ones.
And then what happened is COVID came in.
And there's the price of bacon.
And nobody knew what it was.
$5. Well, 6 with tax.
We knocked out ISIS. We did so many different things. We rebuilt. But, you know,
And, no, he didn't knock out ISIS.
Credit that we really deserve for what we did with COVID. We never got the credit. But had that not happened, the gift from China, from Wuhan, came in from Wuhan, the Wuhan labs, and I always said it, and it turned out to be right. But had that not happened, we were set to start reducing debt. We're going to reduce taxes.
Okay, he just referred to the Wuhan lab.
Taxes still further for middle-income people, not only businesses, but we did it for businesses because they're the ones that's why we had the great job numbers. But we were set to really start reducing debt. And, we're sitting on the biggest pile of liquid gold anywhere in the world, bigger than Saudi Arabia, bigger than Russia. And we were going to drill and we were going to make so much money. We were going to supply Europe with oil. I had stopped the Russian pipeline, and we were going to supply them with oil and gas. We were going to make a...
Yeah, there he goes. Trump fired the entire pandemic response team in 2018. He forgot to mention that part.
We kept a lot of businesses alive.
And they were stationed in, hey, look at that, Wuhan.
But the problem is when Biden came in, he got trillions of dollars and just started spending it stupidly. You didn't need it anymore. We got over that bad period where everybody was dying.
That's Xfinity trying to say something.
It was just not a good period. Interestingly,
you botched the pandemic response, you freaking moron.
more people died during his administration of COVID than during my administration, and we really got the brunt of it. But people don't realize.
No, Biden had to come in and clean up your mess. Yeah, more people died under his administration because he was cleaning up your mess. It was just getting started under you.
So many of your friends said to me the best years we've ever had in business were during the Trump years, and also said that African American, Hispanic American were so incredible. They were having the best Asian American women, men.
This guy is out of his freaking mind.
Young people that graduated from the best colleges, from MIT, from the Wharton School, from all of the great colleges, Harvard. They were doing better, and people without a diploma were doing better, and everybody was happy. And then COVID came, and we had the problem is they spent trillions and trillions.
No, the economy was on the way down. COVID just pushed it over the edge. You would have blamed COVID, but it's not what happened.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I should probably say something about maybe my.
You totally botched the handling of COVID. You completely failed on that metric. And it's amazing. I didn't fail. Biden failed. Biden wasn't the one in charge when it started, dude. Stupid schmuck.
I don't think we should vilify the oil and gas industry and the people that have worked very hard in those industries to provide the necessary energy to support the economy. And if we were to stop using oil and gas right now, we would all be starving, and the economy would collapse.
Nobody's saying just completely stop it right now, but we do need to transition.
The world has a certain demand for oil and gas, and it's probably better if the United States provides that than some other countries.
We're pumping at capacity right now.
And at the same time, obviously, my view is like
we couldn't do any more if we wanted to. But I do think it's interesting that they want to nationalize the oil.
You run out of oil and gas. It's not there.
Okay, the funny thing here is both Elon Musk and Donald Trump are calling for the nationalization of the oil industry in this country.
A lot of people say it is with respect.
They're calling for communism. They want communism when it suits their needs and what they want. That's how they are. But when it's something that actually helps regular people, well, no, they can't have that.
Of CO2, you start getting headaches and nausea. And so we're now in the sort of 400 range. We're adding, I think, about roughly 2 parts per million.
I've been pretty much ignoring these two idiots.
So what it means is like we still have quite a bit of time, but so there's not like we don't need to rush and we don't need to stop farmers from farming or prevent people from having steaks or basic stuff like that.
Nobody's doing that.
Farmers alone.
How crazy is that? You have farmers
nobody's doing that.
Farm anymore and have to get rid of their cattle, and the whole world is a little crazy. But it's largely taken its lead from us. I do say, though, I've heard in terms of the fossil fuel, because even to create your electric car and create the electricity needed for the electric car, fossil fuel is what really creates that at the generating plants. And, so you sort of can't get away from it at this moment. I mean, someday you might be able to, but I do hear we have anywhere from 100 to 500 years left. Much of it hasn't even been found yet.
Yeah.
But there are tremendous, like Anwar. I got Anwar in Alaska approved. Ronald Reagan couldn't do it. Nobody could do it. Everybody tried. Nobody could do it. I got it approved. The first thing that Biden did was unimprove it to get rid of it.
Yeah, but we're still drilling at capacity because we didn't need it.
His secretary went in and she ended it. And what a disgrace. That's Anwar. That's bigger, or they think it could be bigger than Saudi Arabia in Alaska. Could be bigger than Saudi Arabia. But they went in and they terminated it, and I'll get it going very quickly because not only is it big for Alaska, I mean, you talk about economic development, that for the United States, I mean, that is, they say bigger than Saudi Arabia or the same size, and pure, really good stuff.
He really doesn't know what he's talking about.
I think we have, perhaps hundreds of years left. Nobody really knows. But during that time, something will come around.
It doesn't matter how many. There is a limited number of years. But it's not about that. It's about the damage it does to the environment. I guess you don't care because you figure you're going to be dead in a few years.
That's obviously BS.
The rest of us have to deal with it.
But I mean, my view is like if you just look at sort of the parts per million that increments every year, you get sort of 2 or 3 parts per million every year of CO2. I mean, I think some of that it's problematic if it accelerates. If you start going from 2 or 3 to say 5, and then there may be some situations where you get just a step change increase in the CO2, and I think we don't want to get too close to 1,000 ppm because like that's actually makes it
like kill everybody. Yeah, that's probably not a good thing.
Just existing in 1,000 ppm CO2 is uncomfortable. That's like that's considered like an industrial hazard, right? Just so it's
even Elon Musk understands that, hey, if we poison all the water and air, we're all going to freaking die.
I think we want to just move over, like, and if I don't know, 50 to 100 years from now, we're I don't know, mostly sustainable. I think that'll probably be okay. So it's not like the house is on fire immediately, but I think it is something we need to move towards.
No, you didn't have God on your side.
On balance, it's probably better to move there.
It's called a ruler.
but like I said, without vilifying the oil and gas industry, and without causing hardship in the short term, I think this can be done.
Yeah, Trump is scared to debate Kamala Harris. He is absolutely terrified of that.
A stake, and they can still.
The thought of that makes him like wet his bed every night.
It's okay. It's like it's not. I don't think we should vilify people for it, but I think we should just generally lean in the direction of sustainability.
Hey, here's a picture of Donnie.
A majority of us energy generation in the future, and it's
just as a reminder.
And so you get the solar power. Combine that with batteries, because obviously the sun doesn't shine at night.
There is a lot of pictures of him with Epstein. Oh, and he's still flying around Epstein's jet.
And that's what Tesla's trying to move things towards. And
Oops.
A lot of progress in that regard. But when you look at our cars, we don't believe that environmentalism, that caring about the environment should mean that you have to suffer. So we make sure that our cars are beautiful, that they drive well, that they're fast, they're sexy. I mean, they're cool. In fact, literally, I mean, the sexy joke.
Your cars are catching on fire because you're too, I don't know,
like cheesy humor.
Cheap to do what you need to be doing to make sure they don't catch on fire.
I'm a big fan of let's have an inspiring future, and let's work towards a better future, and we do so without demonizing.
Right. I'm okay. It's very interesting. You use the word global warming, and today they use the word climate change because you have some places that go up and stuff. So they were getting themselves in a little trouble with the word global warming because not every place is warming. Some places are going the opposite direction. But I'm sort of waiting for you to come up with solar panels on the roofs of your cars and on the trunks of the cars. And
yeah, someone else has already done that.
At some point you will come up with, I'm sure you'll be the first. But it would seem that a solar panel on the roofs, on flat surfaces, on certain surfaces.
Yeah, somebody's already designed one of those.
The country where you have the world, sure, where you have the sun. But I would think, and I have no idea because that's not my world, but I would think that this would be something that would be interesting. But the one thing that I don't understand is that people talk about global warming or they talk about climate change, but they never talk about nuclear warming. And to me, that's an immediate problem because you have, as I said, 5 countries where you have major nuclear and probably some others are.
What is he talking about?
Very dangerous. That's where you need a strong American president because you don't want to have this proliferation. But you have 5 countries and getting more. China is much less than us right now, but they're going to catch us sooner than people think. They're way lower.
Excuse me.
Us are number 1, and we're sort of tied. And China is far behind, but they're developing at a level that you're not surprised to hear very fast. They'll end up catching up.
To what?
Maybe even surpassing.
He said something about nuclear warming. What is he talking about?
Climate change. It's not, and everything's a problem, but it's degrees. To me, the big problem is the nuclear power. The power of nuclear is so great. And when I talk about I'll prevent World War III, I will. But the truth is that you have to, because this is no longer army tanks going back and forth and shooting at each other. This is a level of destruction and power that nobody's ever seen before.
Yeah, and actually, there's the bad side of nuclear, which is nuclear war, very bad side. But there's also, I think, nuclear electricity generation is underrated.
You're right.
And it's actually, people have.
Yeah, they already have one of those. It's that he was talking about.
Nuclear electricity generation.
A solar panel.
But it's actually one of the safest forms of electricity generation. It's just a huge misunderstanding.
Solar powered electric vehicle. Black Year
injuries and deaths, caused by.
I've seen some videos of it being.
I'm not going to pick on coal mining.
That's it.
Kind of mining operation.
Yeah, they already have them.
Of injuries, deaths.
You noticed that when he was talking about it, Elon was not interested in talking about this at all.
As an electricity source, and I think it's something that's worth reconsidering. But there's so much regulation that people can't get it done. So that
maybe they'll have to change the name. The name is it's a rough name. There are some areas like when you see what happened in
bad branding. The branding.
They haven't made them yet, but they're working on it. Other people are.
No, it has a branding problem. When you see what happened.
It doesn't have a branding problem.
Here's a solar-powered car from Ford.
Where they say you won't be able to go on the land for about 3,000 years. Did you ever see that? And in Russia, where they had the problem, where they. There's a lot of bad things happened, and they have a problem. And they say that in 2,000 years, people will start to occupy the land again. You realize it's pretty bad.
No, that's not true.
But you're right about it.
It's actually not that bad. So like after Fukushima happened in Japan, people were asking me in California, are we worried about like a nuclear cloud coming from Japan? I'm like, no, that's crazy. It's actually not even dangerous.
Here's another one. No, I can't really look at that. But yeah, there's solar powered hybrids already out there.
And I donated a solar water treatment. Yeah, a solar powered system for a water treatment plant. And
but you haven't been feeling so well lately, and I'm worried
there's
about
this one that's apparently a Prius.
I'm fine. It's like.
Yeah, it's a thing. That's already a thing.
Nagasaki were bombed, but now they're like full cities again. So it's really not something that
Let's look at some of the more comments because these two are just rambling at this point.
Let's see. I mean, there's some other topics we should touch on. Like lawfare. I think
lawfare. There's no such. He committed crimes. He's a criminal.
In Florida, this was a Biden administration.
Something
that's never been done in this country.
Yeah, well, that's because we've never had a criminal that was a former president before.
And just nonsense. In the big case in Florida, we won. But they always pick a judge and they use local DAs. They use the local attorney generals, like Fani. Fani, spelled F-A-N-I, Fani, and it's all a big hoax.
You ever notice how he hates black women?
In Manhattan, one of the top people from the Justice Department went.
They got onto him for trying to say Fanny, because that's what he was calling her before.
Was run by a person from the Department of Justice, Biden. They've never done this before, and they set up.
Biden doesn't run the Department of Justice.
It's called lawfare, warfare.
He can.
It's a terrible thing, and never happened.
I mean, he
in
can
country. It
fire
doesn't
the
happen in banana republics and third world.
the Attorney General,
but it's never happened.
the Attorney General is more or less independent.
It actually drove my numbers up because people see. You know, fortunately, I have a.
He's trying to steal the election. I hate to break it to these
In
people.
all fairness, like a conversation like this, where I can talk about it and people understand. I mean, you fight for election integrity and you end up getting indicted because you're fighting for election integrity. And when the day comes that you can't fight for election integrity, you don't have a country anymore. So what happens is they went after their political opponent, me. Now Biden's, close to vegetable stage in my opinion. Okay, I looked at him today on the beach, and I said, why would anybody allow him? The guy could barely walk. Why would anybody allow him? Does he have a political advisor that thinks this looks good? He thinks this looks good because it looks so bad.
He's still going off about Biden, by the way.
I mean, and he's been doing that for a long time. You know, he can't lift the chair. The chair weighs about 3 ounces. It's meant for children and old people to lift. And he can't lift it. The whole thing is crazy.
Well, he's clearly not, he's clearly like we just don't have a president.
You don't have a president. And she's going to be worse than him because she is a San Francisco liberal who destroyed San Francisco and then as Attorney General.
She destroyed San Francisco.
You talk about location and we're talking about the sun and the water and all. There's nothing better than California.
What did she do to San Francisco exactly?
She was the original DA. She was the original.
She was a DA, yeah.
The original Attorney General of California.
Original. She was the first and only Attorney General in California. Wow, that's news, isn't it?
And what she's done with crime, with cashless bail, where you kill somebody. I mean, we have.
Do you have any proof that? That's funny that before you guys were saying she was too rough on people. Now you're saying she's too lenient. Come on, pick a lane.
Our country is becoming a very dangerous place. And
Crime's down.
Radical left, San Francisco liberal, and now she's trying to protect. Now she's looking like she wants to be more Trump than Trump, if that's possible. I don't think it's possible. But she wants to be more Trump than Trump.
Not really.
I want a wall.
I think that's.
She wants to release all the prisoners that are in detention, and some of these guys are really bad.
Right.
That just came out today. She doesn't want to build the wall, even though the walls work. Walls.
These people are out of their minds.
Everything you do is obsolete. Almost, well, not the tunnel.
Yeah, but he wants to tax Social Security.
Even your rocket ships, they're like a month later, they're obsolete. You find a better way to. The only thing that's not obsolete is a wall and a wheel, and. The wall, I built hundreds of miles of wall, and that's.
You did not build hundreds of miles of wall.
I was going to add 200 miles. We bought it. We could have flipped it up in 3 weeks, and they sold it for 5 cents on the dollar. That meant I said, "Wow, that means that they actually do want to have open borders." She wants to have.
They do not want our open borders. She is actually cut back on a lot of border crossings. He just can't get past that lie.
And everybody knows it.
Of course, that's all he's got.
Yeah.
He's dying to say the N-word. You can tell.
What's happening sort of overnight is they're rewriting history and making Kamala sound like a moderate when in fact she is far left, like far left.
Far left. No, she's a moderate.
Liberal by far.
She's a middle. She's a centrist. Well, she's middle with a lean to the left.
Not gonna have a country anymore, and she'll go back to all of the things that she believes in. She believes in defunding the police. She believes in no fracking.
She believes in police reform, where we stop cops from shooting little old ladies in the face that are unarmed. That would be good. Can we agree that might be something we want to look into?
If people didn't think that, the lunatics that really believe in that, they won't vote for it. Like the Palestinians and Israel.
It's killing him that her crowd sizes are so much bigger than hers. I mean, his. Sorry.
Biden actually did something that was impossible. Both sides hate him. Both sides. That was a hard thing to do. Unification.
Yeah, both sides hate you too.
Yeah, no. I mean,
that's probably because that's why you're losing horribly. at this point.
Senate and House sitting, and I was there.
Dear God, this thing's going on forever. Are they going to shut up?
What does that say?
I think it's highly disrespectful. And I say, if you're a Jewish person, or if you
there he goes.
Israel, if you're a person that is very pro-Israel, if you vote for her,
what does being pro-Israel have to do with the Jewish people?
If you vote for her, you ought to have your head examined. And you see tonight, I mean, as we're doing,
you know she's married to a Jew, right?
Coming that they expect an attack
she has
tonight or tomorrow.
Jewish stepkids.
Hundreds and maybe thousands of rockets. You know, their Iron Dome, as they call it, as we all call it, but their shield that they built.
We fund that.
Swamped. We'll use the term.
Which allows them to have universal health care, by the way.
Swamp it by shooting enough missiles. You know this better than anybody. By shooting enough missiles, they can't defend themselves. They just obliterate the whole place. And that's what some people think they're looking to do. And we have no leadership. There's no respect for the United States of America with these people. And I'm telling you,
we have plenty of respect in this country at the moment.
In being radical left, and he wasn't.
I think you're right. I mean, you really, it's important for the public that maybe listen to this to look at Kamala's track record, before the last month, and say,
see what I got.
Track record you agree with. And I think if you're an independent moderate, you definitely would not agree with it, because it is her behavior has been far left, and we're seeing just an overnight propaganda attempt to rewrite history and make it sound like Kamala is moderate when she in fact is not moderate.
Well, her running mate signed into legislation, tampons in boys' bathrooms. Okay. Now,
no, he did not sign a thing for tampons in boys' bathrooms.
And that means she believes in that too. I mean, she picked this guy.
And that's not a thing that's not true at all. That's a lie.
But she picked an anti-Israel radical left person. But she is far worse, they say, than Bernie Sanders. If we have
he's comparing her to Bernie Sanders, the most popular senator in the country. Good. That's a smart thing to do. Yeah, dumbass.
Massive trouble, frankly, with the Kamala administration, and that's my honest opinion. And I think really it's essential that you win for the good of the country this election, and that's understating my opinion. Now, you may have seen this, but I got a letter from the EU Commission saying to not have disinformation on during this discussion that we're having. And
well, he just platformed a whole bunch of lies.
Do censorship.
I'm surprised he didn't do the abortion lie that he usually throws out there.
From other countries.
I think they told him to stay away from that one. But we'll see. They still got some time here.
Well, I know the European Union very well. They take great advantage of the United States in trade, as you know.
Oh, God. He's going after our allies again after he just spent some time praising our enemies.
And yet, if you build a car in the United States, you can't sell it in Europe. You just can't sell it. It's impossible.
Yeah, because it doesn't meet their emission standards or mileage.
It's very difficult to do business. We have a deficit with them of $250 billion.
I doubt that.
People don't know. It sounds so nice, the European Union, but let me tell you, they're not as tough as China, but they're bad. And I let them know it. And that's probably why they notified you. No, they don't treat our country well. We defend them. With Ukraine, so we're in for $250 billion, and they're in for about $71 billion, and they have the same size. If you add up the European nations, that in terms of an economy, it's about the same size. When you say as us, and they're in much greater risk. They're right there. We have an ocean separating us from, in this case, the enemy would be Russia. It used to be for the Soviet Union, but let's assume they're close enough.
Didn't he say 250?
They're in for 70-something million. I think even less than that billion, and we're in for about 250 billion, and it could be a lot higher than that.
For what?
And I say, why aren't you going to equalize? Why aren't they paying what we're paying? And they're in much more. It's much more important for them because of the fact that they're right near there. I mean, they're all.
He doesn't understand NATO.
But they should, and I did it with NATO. there were only 7 countries that were paid up in NATO out of 20.
He really did. No, it's not how NATO works.
The United States was subsidized.
Yeah.
The United
He
States
literally doesn't understand how NATO works at all.
tremendously subsidizing NATO. And I went in and I said, you got to pay up. If you don't pay up, we're not going to defend you any longer.
And that would be a violation of our treaties with them. Idiot.
And,
Yeah, I think a lot of the public isn't aware of the fact that the United States pays a disproportionate share of.
A lot of the public.
And then we get taken advantage.
Well, you don't understand how it works either if you think that.
Yeah, well,
Because, again, you're a moron.
And it's
You're a moron that just was part of the Lucky Sperm Club.
Disproportionately more to defend Europe than Europe. That doesn't make sense. That's unfair.
That is not how that works.
Appropriate thing to address.
Well, when you talk about cross-cutting and
You really have no idea what you're talking about.
honestly, look, there's nobody
Oh
that
my
feels
God,
worse
these
about the
two
Ukraine
idiots are
situation
morons.
than I do, because I know it would have never happened. I know Zelensky, he was very honorable to me, because when they went with the Russia hoax, and they said I had a phone call with him, he said it was a perfect phone call, it was a great phone call. He could have grandstanded and, said, he was very threatening. He said, no, it was a very nice phone call. I called him up to congratulate him on his win, and you end up getting impeached, because these people are lunatics.
Yeah, you got impeached because you were committing a crime.
And the enemies on the outside. In many cases, the people from within are more dangerous for our country than the Russias and the Chinas. If you have a smart president, you're not going to have a problem with them. You're going to do things.
Yeah.
Now they've taken advantage of us
absolutely.
incredibly, but you're going to do things with the right person.
Yeah, well, I think it's obvious that you're a believer and an advocate of free speech because
your father-in-law is asking me about
relentlessly every day, often very unfairly with fault.
If I thought Trump was a good leader when he was in office. No, he was a complete failure. He failed on every metric.
And I think that's his
every metric. He failed completely.
You and I have, and some people, very few, we can get the word out. Although sometimes it's hard because they don't want to print it, like we're having a great conversation right now. Kamala wouldn't have this conversation. She can't because she's not smart.
Did he call her Tamala?
By the way, she can't have this conversation. And Biden, we don't even have to talk about.
Did he just call her Tamala?
This conversation. He would
Did I
have
miss
been
that?
the first half of a question. He would have walked out. He would have said, "Where am I? Where am I going?" So anyway, but no,
he's still talking about Biden.
Would have this conversation.
I don't know if he understands this, but his attacks on Biden is going to hurt him because Biden is now a sympathetic character. People feel sympathy, feel bad for this old man who had to step aside because his health finally give out, and he had to finally face that his health was no longer holding up.
It's not possible. So it's like talking to an NPC. So it's just impossible.
Well, but think of it. We need a man or person who's unbelievably sharp in order to stop all the nuclear
himself.
all the dangers that I'm talking about. And I got along with all these. I got along with Kim Jong-un. We had dinner.
Yeah, they manipulated you very well because you're an idiot.
And I got along with him really well. By the way, he
was in a much stronger position after you left office because he got away with all that crap he was doing.
He is the boss. But we had a good relationship.
No, you didn't. He manipulated you because you are a simpleton.
A stupid man, he said. He's a stupid man. Well, at least he speaks his mind. But, in this country, you're not sort of allowed to say it, but I guess you are. You should be allowed to say it. That's true. But we need...
You are a stupid man.
We need smart people, and we need people that...
Well, that rules you and Elon out because both of you are freaking morons.
Can you imagine... Now, you know Chairman Xi very well. Can you imagine her and him negotiating or...
No,
even
silly.
standing together, it is, the whole concept is ridiculous. She is terrible. She's terrible. But she's getting a free ride. I saw a picture of her on Time Magazine today. She looks like the most beautiful actress ever to live. It was a drawing. And actually, she looked very much like our great First Lady, Melania. Didn't look
Melania hates your guts.
Like Camilla. That's right. But of course, she's a beautiful woman, so we'll leave it at that, right?
Yeah, well, maybe I think part of what people in America want to, people in America want to feel excited and inspired about the future. They want to feel like the future is going to be better than the past, and that America is going to do things that are greater than we've done in the past, reach new heights that make you proud to be an American. and excited about.
Well, that's definitely what Kamala Harris is bringing to the ticket. Trump is not. All he cares about is hatred and the past. That is his whole shtick.
You don't have that today because the people, they've been just sucked. They see incompetent people running our, the Biden thing is very interesting. People just found him to be incompetent. And when I debated him...
You're still going on about Biden. You're not running against Biden anymore. Give it up.
But, I think there are, some grand projects that we could do. I mean, I think, we could build a base on the moon. We could send American astronauts to Mars. We could build high-speed connections that are, more advanced.
Things that Elon wants contracts for.
People have fast transport. It's possible to solve traffic with tunnels.
Oh yeah, you tried that tunnels thing. That was a stupid idea that never did work out to anything because it was an incredibly dumb idea.
Well, I saw what you did in Vegas, and I'll tell you, it was amazing. I got to see. I took a big glimpse at it, and it's incredible. It's incredible, and you could do that all over. You could do that all over. It's deep.
Yeah.
You don't even need much structure, assuming you're in the right area.
No, it's straightforward.
It's amazing.
I think we could do some things that like China's got incredible high-speed rail between its cities, but I think it's actually possible with tunnels if with deregulation, with an ability to actually where it's legal to actually do the tunnels, then you could have high-speed tunnels that are actually better than anything else in the world for high-speed transport between cities, and that would be something that Americans can say, wow, okay, we've got something that's cooler than anyone else in the world. That's the kind of thing that makes you proud to be an American.
And much safer than surface trains, where there is a danger there, with crazy people.
Yeah.
It's much safer, much better. And it's sad because I've seen some of the greatest trains. I find it fascinating. And I've seen the systems and how they work, and the bullet trains, they call them, I guess.
Yeah, we're only
unbelievably fast.
50 years behind in the technology on that because
with no problems.
People like you won't put money into it.
Not even close. And it doesn't make sense that we don't.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense that we don't, but you were in there for 4 years. You didn't put no damn money into it either. You didn't even try.
Helping on the excess regulation, but I think something that
I'd love to see the bullet trains, but he's all talk on that. He will not do any of that once he gets in office. He does not care.
Eventually, everything becomes illegal, and that actually it slows down the development of new technologies. I mean,
see, now he's going against regulation. Making sure things are safe so the rest of us don't die.
Approve drugs that could help save lives and improve people's lives.
Well, we gotta make sure they don't kill people first.
We got that down to the lowest number ever, and we got therapeutics approved in the FDA that people can't.
Yeah, cause a bunch of people get sick too.
I took them.
You forget that part.
I don't think they like me too much, but I got things approved in the FDA at numbers that they wouldn't.
Yeah, you did away with safety regulations. And how many people got sick and addicted to a bunch of medications now?
I know a lot of them, but I was pushing them really hard for
how many?
For so many different things.
And you wonder why we have an opioid fentanyl crisis. I should have said
fentanyl.
It's
too long. They would take
anyway,
12 years
I already
to
said
get
it. Too bad.
I got it down to 4, and I got some things done very quickly, but it's really something that is going to have to be worked on because it takes too long. It just takes too long.
Yeah, it just takes too long, and you end up in the same with the approval, but it just it takes years instead of something that I think could potentially take months. That improves people's lives.
And stretch my legs.
I just wanted to talk on this point
that
there has to be an active process for reducing rules and regulations, because otherwise they just keep building up every year, and you get hardening of the arteries, and eventually everything's illegal or takes forever.
We do have to have safety regulations now. There are some that need to be reviewed? Sure, we can look into some of it, but you can't have just pure anarchy. And I mean, what Elon wants is nobody watching over his shoulder to make sure he ain't doing things that are going to hurt people.
Medicine or whatever.
And he doesn't like anything that questions him.
Labs in the world, we really do. And but people would go to other countries because you couldn't use the product, even if they thought it worked, because it's going through the FDA. I got it approved where you can, you basically, look, nobody wanted, the doctors didn't want it because of the liability, the country didn't want it, our country, because they didn't want to get sued. These are people terminally ill. The insurance companies didn't want it, and the pharmaceutical companies, nobody wanted it. I got everybody into a room, and we came up with an agreement that you won't get sued. And also, they didn't want it on their record. If somebody's terminally ill and they die after taking a drug, they didn't want that on their record. So we set a separate list because somebody was, so it wouldn't count as a negative, okay? And as you know, we got it done. We have saved right to try. They've been trying to get this done for 58 years, and it sounds simple.
Oh yeah, the right to try. I don't think he had anything to do with that.
Companies, nobody wanted it, but we got it done. Somebody signs. You signed a document that you're not going to sue the insurance companies, the country. You're not going to sue anybody, and we got it done. And we're saving tens of thousands of lives. Right to try. Hopefully, you never need it, but if you do, you don't have to travel to Asia. You know, people, if they had money, they go to Asia, they go to Europe. If they don't have money, they go home and die. That's what happened. They go home and die.
Well, I mean, and actually, to give you some props here, it's like if a drug is approved in Europe, which has a crazy amount of regulations, it should obviously.
Okay, he did sign it, but he had nothing to do with that coming up with it.
So why?
I'll give him that one. He signed it.
In the U.S., that's crazy.
Well,
of course, he signed anything they put in front of him, so you know.
They've been trying to do it for 50 years, and they just couldn't get it done, and I got it done.
Really?
And it's
you got it done. You had absolutely nothing to do with this.
Europe, because a drug isn't approved here, but it's approved in Europe, and it's a drug that, generally speaking, would work. It's pretty crazy.
Absolutely,
you're right.
And I think so. As long as people are properly informed of the pros and cons, and like these are the risks, this is the risk, and like you make your own decision.
That's rich Elon Musk talking about.
Well, I think just in sort of closing up. And by the way, I'm looking at the numbers. You got a lot of people listening. I hope you don't get nervous because you got a lot of people listening to you right now, like
not really
1 million or something. What is that number? It's crazy.
1.1 million.
You can see that right away. How many? What is the number? Wow.
It's 1.1 million. Did we lose it?
Well, I think in terms of people,
that's bigger than you said. You said 25, and you're much more than double that number. 25 million. I think you're going to be 60 or 70.
That's not what that says. That's how many views. That's not the number of people listening.
Well,
it says the number listening is 1.1 million.
This conversation over the next few days to weeks.
It's right here.
It's going to be
1.1 million people listening.
Well, look, it's an honor. I just asked this: are you better off now, or were you better off when I was president? Nobody's better.
I'm better off now. I'm much better off now. So is everybody else.
Nobody's better off now.
Everybody's better off now.
And you know, they also feel very unsafe. You look at what's going on with a lot of
Why does anybody feel unsafe?
The riots we had at the colleges over, I mean, it's ridiculous, but...
I've been to the colleges, I work at the colleges,
and now they really
driving people around, and there's no problem at the colleges.
Biden migrant crime. Maybe I'll call it Kamala migrant crime. But
you know, I mean, with all these things, I always try to get to the ground truth by just asking people. And you know what? My mom lives in New York. And
Trump can't stop talking about Biden. He is desperate for Biden to get back in this race. He that's all. He put it all on Biden. He put all his cards on Biden, and it didn't work out for him.
And I said, well, what happened to the people that sold them? Oh, nothing. They got away. Like, and they just know.
They always get away.
Nothing's gonna. And they don't even bother reporting it because they know that they're not gonna, people are not gonna get prosecuted. They just let,
this guy can't talk.
Criminals out in New York.
The only one that gets prosecuted is Donald Trump. They prosecute Trump.
Yeah, I mean it's just obvious.
What is he talking about?
If violent criminals are getting off scot-free, and meanwhile that New York spending massive resources prosecuting you, and it's like what's this?
He's a criminal.
And I think the sort of sensible public looks at this and said, well, what the heck's going on here? This is obviously abuse of the legal system.
No, it's not. He committed crimes. There's a grand jury, and the jury convicted him.
Criminals,
That's the way it works.
It should be obviously allowing the
You should have known that as an immigrant. You had to take that test to pass the immigration thing. How do you not know this?
Once they start this precedent, because this can go on with the next one, I mean, this is a very bad precedent what they're doing in terms of, going after a political opponent, and that's all it is. It's going after.
No, it wasn't going after a political opponent. It's you committed crimes, you got caught. That's about how it works.
Strong Democrat, and I'm being nice when I say that. In many cases, crooked as hell. But you get a judge, and you go into an area where a Republican gets 3 or 4% of the vote, and you'll have a jury pool with people that hate Republicans or hate. It could also be the other way, though. Of course.
It doesn't really matter.
Areas where they hate
You were convicted on the evidence.
Box is a very dangerous thing for this country, and a very dangerous thing even for the state. New York City is losing. New York City and state lose a lot of business over what
they haven't.
Because these people say we don't want that to happen to us. That's no justice.
That's not happening. Didn't happen.
And it's costing New York.
He's lying
a tremendous
again.
amount of money. People are leaving and companies are leaving, and they won't come back.
No, they're not.
So, all of that stuff is important, but the economy now is the big thing, and we can turn that economy up so fast.
The economy's doing great. It would do horrible under you because of what you plan to do.
And I want to congratulate you. You've done an amazing job. You have definitely got a fertile mind. You and I can talk about rockets.
Well, see, it's kind of you to say thank you.
Tunnels, we can talk about
fertile mind.
Rockets
if you mean fertile as in fertilizer, what's used as fertilizer, which is cow shit, that would be pretty accurate.
So it's an amazing thing you've done.
Are they about ready to stop talking?
It's an amazing thing, and I congratulate you.
Honestly, that bored the shit out of me.
Well, I mean, I just say here, here's to an.
Of course, I do have ADHD, so that might explain that.
Be optimistic and excited about what happens next, and that's the kind of future that I think you will bring as president, and that's why I endorse you.
Well, I appreciate that. That endorsement
means absolutely nothing.
Endorsements mean that much, to be honest.
Joe Rogan didn't.
We have a phrase.
Because he saw a sinking ship when he recognized a sinking ship when he saw one, and
we can do it.
Yeah, that didn't go over well.
But if we were going to suffer another 4 years like we suffered for the last 4 years...
Oh, we can only hope we have what we had for the last 3 years, because 4 years ago, it was bullshit, having to deal with the bullshit you left us in.
And it's, I'd just like to note to people listening, like, I've not been very political before, and if you look
because you don't know anything about it, and you probably should stay out of it.
Paint me as like a far right guy, which is absurd because I'm like making electric vehicles and solar and batteries helping them.
No, you don't understand any of that. You just like to grab onto somebody else's idea and pretend it's yours.
Supported Obama. I stood in line for 6 hours.
And pay for it. That's basically what you do.
President, and so it's not like I'm like some sort of dyed-in-the-wool long-term Republican. I call myself, historically a moderate Democrat, but now I feel like we're really at a critical juncture for the country.
Oh God, he tried to tell people I was a Democrat. No, you wasn't. I don't believe that for people. Come on.
Obviously, we're just going to see an even further left administration with Kamala. That's my honest opinion.
We can only hope we get a further left administration.
I mean, she was brought up as an actual. Her dad is a Marxist economist. You can Google it. I mean, it's not a. We're not making this up.
Do you know what Marxism is? I doubt it. I doubt very seriously.
And we want to have a future that is prosperous
well, if you want a prosperous future, you better vote for Kamala because you ain't gonna get it with
I think this is a case of
Trump or this idiot.
America is going to at a fork in the road, and
true.
That one is true. That we are at a fork in the road. We can either go down fascism and disaster, or we can go with hope and prosperity.
That's my honest opinion.
Those are the two choices we got.
I've also experienced quite a bit of lawfare myself, but
lawfare because you I don't know committed crimes.
Really active in politics before, and I'm just trying to point out that my track record historically has been moderate, if not moderate, slightly left.
I've seen your track record, and moderate is not what it is.
We're in the moderate camp to say I think you should support Donald Trump for president.
No, you should not. You should vote against this moron at the first opportunity.
If it goes the other way.
Well, I want to thank you, and You know, I actually always did think of you as somewhat left. I must say that. So it's even more of an honor to have your endorsement. I know how strong you feel about it. But you know, when you think of her, San Francisco, 15 years ago, I had a great friend, Bob Tish. He said it's the greatest city in America, and now it's almost not livable there. And California likewise, and she was involved in the destruction of San Francisco and the destruction of California.
In what way?
She will be involved in the destruction of our country if people are so unwise as to elect her. And I hope that doesn't happen, and I hope the elections are going to be run honestly.
They're going to be run honestly. Don't worry about that.
Turn this country around. We're gonna do things and we can do it fairly quickly. And we have
you can destroy the country, yeah, I'm sure.
You know, given to us by other countries as they laugh at us. They think we're stupid to accept these people.
They think we're stupid for letting you even run for president.
So-called killers in many cases and terrorists. And they're in.
And he's still going right back to what he talked about in the very first thing.
And we have to take them out.
Yeah, I mean, if I could summarize it, perhaps, you know, I think these are issues that I think most people in America would agree with, which is that we want safe and clean cities, we want secure borders, we want sensible government spending, we want to restore both the perception and reality of respect in the judicial system, you know, stop the lawfare, and I think that's like, and how are those even right-wing positions? I think those are that's just common sense, and that's
yeah, but it's not anything the Republicans propose. It's not part of the Republican platform. Everything you just named, none of it is.
Call it liberal or progressive. I don't understand how somebody could say that it's okay for them to empty prisons into our country. And again, I told you, their crime rate.
Nobody's doing that. That's not happening.
Which makes sense. In fact, the next time what we'll do.
That is a lie.
Something happens with this election, which would be a horror show. We'll meet the next time in Venezuela because it'll be a far safer place to meet than our country, okay? So we'll go, you and I will go and we'll have a meeting and dinner in Venezuela because that's what's happening. Their crime rate's coming down and our crime rate's going through the roof.
Our crime rate is down. He's lying again.
Because these people have come into our country and they're just getting acclimated. And they don't know about being politically correct law enforcement or lack of law enforcement. And our police.
What are you talking about?
With this. We have great police, we have great law enforcement, but they're not allowed to do their job. They have to be able to do their job.
Oh, he wants to have fascist police that don't have any rules on them.
Absolutely, and it's obviously demoralizing if you're a police officer risking your life to, you know.
And there they go again.
Arrest,
it's funny. A minute ago, they didn't like
kill you sometimes.
Law enforcement
you arrest the
arresting them when they commit crimes, but only for the rest of us normies.
And just let the guy out. Well, then, like, why should a police officer risk their life to arrest a violent felon?
Well, even worse, Elon,
nothing's going to happen.
Even worse, they prosecute the police officer. They go after it and they prosecute the police officer and they take away his pension.
Yeah, they prosecute the police officer when they commit a crime.
He loses his house.
Well, I thought.
You know, like when they shoot a little old lady in the face.
There was that case where, you know, sort of a gang of thugs beat up police officers. I think it was in Times Square in New York.
Yeah, I figured they'd bring that up.
And nothing happened to those guys. They were let out, zero bail, and I think.
I do believe they were prosecuted.
Well, what is that? I mean, that is a gross indignity against the United States, and that's how. I mean, this is insane. Like, have we lost all pride? How can such a thing be allowed to occur?
I've never seen anything. You know, we see where they get shot. It's a very dangerous profession, but something they're very proud of, and they want to be able to do their job. But I've seen them get shot. I've seen a lot of that. But I've never seen where these guys are standing in the middle of a big street, everybody watching them, and they're literally boxing, like punching, stand-up fighting, a police officer. There were two of them. And you had about six of these guys, and they're punching the hell out of them. And in their own country,
what are you talking about?
Dead if they did that. They'd be shot. They would be shot instantly. And you know, they come from these countries, and it's taking them a while to realize that
Trump is calling for shooting people in the street and killing them without any trial.
And had a fight with a police officer, they would be shot. There's no political.
See, that's what he's calling for.
And it's such a sad.
He's calling for people to be shot and killed in the street by police right now.
Because we don't do anything about it.
Yeah, we just cannot have a situation where our police officers are beaten up on camera by a gang of illegal immigrants, and then nothing happens to the guys that beat up the cops. I mean,
yeah, that's not true.
Unacceptable.
Well, we're going to change it, and we're going to get them out of the country. You know, when I first got involved, they said you couldn't get them back to these countries. You couldn't take them back. In the case of Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, some others, you couldn't get them back. And I said, really? Oh, you can't get them back. Because under Obama, he couldn't get them back. They'd fly them in, and they'd put planes on the runways in these countries, so you couldn't land the plane. They'd bring them back. And the generals told me, sir, we can't bring them back. The countries won't accept MS-13 gang members. They won't accept them. And I said,
I can tell you right now, that didn't happen.
In terms of economic aid, which is also
anytime he says this stuff, he brings up general.
Tell them they're
nobody.
They're delinquent. We're not paying them anymore. Because they won't accept it. And you know what happens?
I hate to break it to you, but generals don't have anything to do with immigration.
To take them back, sir, we would be honored. It was so easy. But it's one of those things.
They really don't. The generals don't come in and say, well, we've handled the immigration. That's not a thing.
We took them out of here.
And generals don't handle deportations either.
And their countries took them back. And because I said you're not getting any.
Oh my God! Really?
They were nice. They wouldn't take them back for Obama. They wouldn't take them back for anybody.
Yeah, we deported people, and they were deporting. Obama was known as the deporter in chief. He deported a whole bunch of people.
Yeah. It's just gotta be done. We just can't have whether they're citizens or not citizens. We can't have. Because they won't prosecute citizens either, not just illegals. So you can't have violent, repeat violent offenders that are not that don't get incarcerated.
That's right.
Because they will obviously, by definition, continue to hurt people. And I think where part of this comes from is that there's and I do sort of consider myself liberal in some ways. I mean. It's just that you want to have empathy for people. Obviously, you want to have empathy for people. I totally agree with that. You want to have empathy, but you also have to have empathy for the victims of the criminals. And if you just have empathy for the criminals, it's actually shallow empathy. It's not real. You're not thinking. You're one layer deep empathy. You got to say, like, what if you don't incarcerate this person? Who are they going to hurt? Who are they might kill someone. They might rape someone. If you don't incarcerate them, you have to have empathy for the victims. And there's a lack.
That's funny. You don't really care about the victims when
and too much empathy for the criminals.
It has anything to do with gun violence. How about that? How about we do something about that?
For society as a whole, not shallow empathy for criminals.
And you're not going to get any empathy from Republicans because they don't care.
And we have to let them do their job. They can do a great job. But we have to.
You just call for the. You think their job is just to go shoot people? You just call for them to shoot people without any due process.
Do anything you want and nothing happens. And I'm talking about violent crime, and it's going to get more violent because these are really, really violent people. And we're going to get them out of our country, and we're going to get them back to where, because they were sent here by the presidents and by the various people that run those countries, and I know every one of those guys, and they're smart people. And they're streetwise people, and they really think that.
And you don't know any of those people.
Stupid. They think we're run by stupid people, and they have.
Well, they think if they look at you, they would think we're stupid.
We took out thousands of MS-13 gang members. We brought them back, and now again, it's the same old.
He's just making that up.
And they actually gave them a big increase in aid. They raised it up to billions of dollars, and they get nothing for it. So.
He just made that up too.
Vote for Trump, and we're going to get this country straight. Yeah. And I didn't need this. I'm like you. I didn't need this. I had a very nice life. I didn't need to go through court systems and go through all the other stuff and run at the.
Well, yeah. If you just kept out of this and not been so mad that Obama made fun of your hair and how you're a failed businessman, you probably wouldn't have a problem.
I have great locations. I have beautiful oceans that I have places.
No, you don't.
And this was. But I felt it was important, and if I had
to, you were just running a grift.
Over again, you probably think I'm crazy for doing it, actually. But if I had to do it over again, I would have done it over again because
no, you wouldn't.
This is so much more important than me or my life. We're going to save.
No, you're right now. You're trying to run to keep out of jail.
And these people are bad people that we're running against, and they're liars. They make statements. They do things that are so bad. They say they're going to make a strong border.
Yeah, wow, he just stammers and stutters.
And they've been the worst in history. They say they're going to stop crime.
The facts speak for themselves.
It's so incredible.
Speak for themselves. Like it's got to the point where people just don't even bother reporting crime in a lot of cities because they know nothing is going to happen. That's what I hear anecdotally from people all the time. So it's just my values. I'm just saying to people out there, like the things I think are important for the future is like we've got to have safe cities, we've got to have secure borders, we've got to have sensible spending, and we've got to have deregulation, and so we can have a prosperous future. And then
I don't know if I can hear myself here.
Sort of moonshot projects that people can get fired up about, and that's the future I'm looking for. And I'm pro-environment, but I'm not against. I'm not like.
Yeah, this guy's insane.
By the oil and gas industry because they're keeping civilization going right now, and but if people want to move, a reasonable speed towards.
Okay, I can at least I can be heard on this video.
And I think, and so I mean that's why I'm supporting you for president.
Well, I appreciate it. We're going to give incentive to companies to come into our country, not to leave our country. We're going to be including tremendous incentives. We want companies to build here, not to build in other locations, and we want to create jobs. And again, it's about the American dream. You don't hear about the American dream anymore, Elon. You don't hear. You're the American dream.
Kamala is running a campaign on the American dream. As a matter of fact, she did that back in 2020 too. She was a symbol of the American dream. She is the child of immigrants who became vice president.
Going to a job that
can you get much more than the American dream than that?
Or not any job at all where they have.
And now she's running for president, and she's got a good shot at getting it. Can you get more than the American dream than that?
So I learned a lot in the first. We had a great economy and all of that. We rebuilt the military. Just so much.
Oh yeah, that's right. You cannot.
And I also learned the best people. I learned the good people, the smart people, the dumb people, the people that can do things. The people, you learn. When I first came in, I tell people I was in Washington D.C. only 17 times, according to the fake news media. I was in 17 times. I never stayed over. And you don't know people. You rely on other people to give you names, and then you realize the people you relied on weren't so good. Now, we had great people, but we also had some where I wouldn't have...
You had the biggest turnover ever in any administration in the history of the country.
We're going to really turn things around.
Dear God, he has been rambling for 2 hours.
And I really appreciate this has been...
And said absolutely nothing this whole time, pretty much, except lies.
You've done an incredible job and a great inspiration to people.
Oh, dear God, shut the hell up.
I hope you keep going and just continue to do well. And we're going to have a big election coming up.
Sound like he got his dentures fixed.
November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country. I think that election will be the most important election. And I think it'll end up being maybe the most important day in the history of our country.
When Kamala Harris becomes the first woman president. That'd be great.
I'm so sorry for everyone.
We should have had that a long time ago.
I think we're at a fork in the road of destiny of civilization.
You said that earlier.
And I think we need to take the right path, and I think...
Yeah, we need to elect Kamala. That would be the correct path.
Thank you very much, Elon. It's a great honor, and we'll do it again sometime. And it's been really fun, and I hope you got a lot of viewers. I hear you got a lot, but I hope you got a lot.
Yeah, no, he don't.
So I appreciate it. I'll see you soon.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Elon.
They're going. It's finally over. Oh, thank you, Jesus. That was like the most torturous thing I think I've ever seen. Let's see. Are they done? Are they truly done? I don't know. No, it looks like they might actually be done. Oh my God, that was bad. That was absolutely the biggest horrible thing. I mean, that was, oh my God, my head hurts. Just to deal with the pure stupidity of two Nepo babies that were born on third base and thought they hit a triple. I mean, these two guys, egos, oh my, I don't know how the two egos didn't clash, to be honest. I mean, I'm pretty sure they pretty much hated each other on the way out of this thing. Oh, dear Lord. And he just kept going on and on about Biden. He is so upset that Biden is not running now. And but I did notice that his people did keep him. My guess is that's why they had his audio, not a video thing, because his people were probably saying, do not talk about abortion, do not bring up her race, do not do don't bring up that she is a woman, do not. And he caught himself. He almost went there, but I'm betting he had people standing right in front of him. Do not say this. Whatever you do, don't say that. Guarantee it. But oh, what a mess this thing was. This is pretty well what I thought it was going to be, a complete clusterfuck. I'm going to be looking at some of the commentaries tomorrow. It was a disaster getting started. I think like it took them 30 minutes or more to actually, I was 17 minutes late getting on this, and they were 30 minutes past that getting started up. So, yeah, this was a disaster. I mean, this wasn't as bad as that interview he did the other day with the press, but this was not good. It did. I don't believe this won him over a single voter. Not one. I just can't see it. Now, I did see in the chat feed some of the comments people did. Let's see if we can get some more. Let's see if we get some more recent ones. Most recent. Let's see what comes up. Let's see. School playground level discussion. No decent choices because the architects are like dumb figureheads they can easily control. Okay, I'm going to do a little bit of a short on this. Actually, I'm going to do a video that I can upload a clip. Let's see, that was school playground level discussion. No decent choices because the architects, like dumb figureheads, they can easily control. There we go. Trump rapes children. Well, he was accused. Let's be fair. He was accused by a girl that says she was 13 when he raped her. She dropped the case because, according to her lawyer, she was getting a lot of death threats. Here is a Trump supporter. Wonderful music to our ears. Bless God. God bless you and bless America. Blah, blah, blah. Ultra Patriots for Christ. My brother and beloved president. What about Elon's request for assistance with the EU censorship threat? Well, Trump can't do anything. He ain't got no power. Thank you, President Trump, for your time and candid conversation, and kudos for Elon for hosting. They didn't really do anything. Woke FBI has been lying about crime statistics for 30 years. No, they haven't. There's things you can verify that. This was awesome. Going to listen to it again tomorrow. Boy, you are a glutton for punishment because this was boring as crap. Cut off Israel and I'll vote for you. He will never do that. Not once. He actually told Israel to finish the job. In other words, go in there and murder all those children 100%. So yeah, don't even think that Trump gives a crap about those people. Excellent discussion. I don't know what discussion you listened to, but it definitely wasn't this one. Air 3000. Okay. Like, comment, wallet, report this article. Okay, whatever that means. It's a spammer. Okay, whatever. What a fantastic discussion. Elon, you are brilliant. No, he is not. He's an idiot. Joe Biden released stunning statement about his wife, Jill Biden, who really freaking cares because he's not running. Trump now using Epstein's plane? Yes, he is. Following the malfunction of Trump's plane before his Montana rally, it appears Trump is now using the plane that previously belonged to Jeffrey Epstein, the Lolita Express, as I recall. Records indicate Trump's new plane, which now features a Trump campaign logo, shares a serial number with a plane previously belonging to Epstein. Wow, how about that? He's still flying on the Lolita Express. Please do this weekly. Please don't. Do not do this weekly. This was an absolute horrible thing. That's a wrap for tonight. Wow. What an amazing conversation. No, it was not. It was a bunch of rambling from two idiots. Yeah, I don't know what that one is. I was here 24, I was here in 2024, December 8th. Hope you win, Trump. If not, I'll probably died fighting for our freedom. Oh, that's not December. Okay, I'm sorry. That was, oh, yeah, he apparently doesn't know how to write a date. Okay. So good. No, it wasn't. How about freedom of speech? This is how freedom... Well, yeah, I don't have a problem with him having a freedom of speech, but I hate to break it to you. You're probably going to get called out on a lot of the crap you said. Wow, 70 million views. That doesn't mean 70 million viewers. Were you able to get in Laura? I finally did like 1 minute before it started. Okay, that sounds kind of weird considering his daughter-in-law's name is Laura. Maybe I'm misreading that. I've been in the dental field for 20 years. Sounds like a new partial or denture that hasn't been adjusted and he hasn't gotten used to it. That's because of the slurring. He was really messing up. He couldn't talk plainly there for a while. Yes, and they didn't mention crypto. Glad they didn't. They were probably told not to bring that one up because that is the biggest freaking scam in the world. It was nice space. Thanks. I hope you both improve the world. They won't. They're both currently evil. Correct. Your mom's a whore. Okay, that seems like very bad. No, America does not love President Trump. Harris is speaking. Statement on Donald Trump's interview with Elon Musk. Donald's extremely dangerous Project 2025 agenda has a feature, agenda is a feature, not a glitch of his campaign, which was on full display for those unlucky enough to listen to tonight during whatever the blah 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 x.com. Trump's entire campaign is in service of people like Elon Musk and himself. Self-obsessed rich guys who sell out the middle class and, well, yeah, they literally talked about union busting. I mean, they wanted to get rid of unions and talked about how to get rid of them and basically make people work for less. I mean, they've said that. That was a thing in their discussion. I just received a call from a friend who happens to be a Biden supporter. Who cares? Biden's not running. After he listened to the broadcast, it made him turn. He made a turn and he will be voting for Trump. That is a made-up bullshit lie. Nah. If somebody supported Biden, and even when he was in the mess that he was in, they're going to listen to Trump like, you know, that guy slurring his words and can't really talk plainly. I'm going to jump right on that. Really? That's not a thing. Bitch 20. Over 60 million jobs. Over 60 million. Good job, bravo. That's views. They just count the views as people clicking on it, and it's like there's only maxed out at 1.4 million actual people listening. So, yeah. Let's see. Excellent. 47 started out a bit nervous and relaxed as the conversation continued. He's not 47. That's going to be Kamala. So, yeah. Get a grip there, buddy. Listen to the whole thing live. Yeah, it was a complete mess. Trump has not been elected yet. And it doesn't matter if she was selected. She actually got the delegates to say they're going to support her. So, and the entire Democratic Party has rallied behind her, and so have some Republicans. There's actually Republicans saying they're going to vote for Kamala. So, that's got to hurt. Let's see. The base. Okay, what's he follow? Put your follow where your fucking mouth is, Ryan. Okay, from one Ryan supporting President Trump to another. Huh? I don't know what that means. Not that these people are fighting among themselves. It's important to mention that the talk started 45.11 minutes into the recording. Before that, it was just music. So yeah, they were letting that play. They were an hour late. An hour. And I guarantee it wasn't some technical difficulty. It's probably something to do with Trump being a little bitch. Who knows? Worst interview ever. Elon sucks Trump's poopy ass. That's a good one. Trump will win again in America. No, he won't. He's losing horribly, and this interview didn't help him at all. I don't think it hurt him. I'll be honest, I don't think he did anything that did himself too much damage, except for the anti-union talk that he did. That probably is something that's going to be clipped out. And I didn't get to clip it, unfortunately. I might pull this back up and see if I can find it and clip it. It's like 2 hours worth of crap to dig through. But yeah, they did talk about doing away with union labor. Elon really hates union labor, apparently. And he wants to be able to pay people like slave wages and stuff. Hell, he wants to put a microchip in your head and turn you into a robot. I mean, honestly. Thank you for a pleasant and I don't know what you thought was informative. There's not a damn thing that either one of them said that was true. Well, at least this person got the right number. He's 45, not 47. Trump, man, he's losing. He's not going to be a wave. I hate to break to you, but the wave, he's literally playing the Titanic theme music at his rallies, or he was until Celine Dion put a stop to it. But even in her thing to ask him to quit, she literally said, "Really, this song?" Honestly, yeah, that does bring into the question, what the world was he thinking? Let's see. Wonderful discussion with great ideas. What ideas did they have? Stuff that's already done, like the solar-powered electric car. There's several of them already in existence. Even Ford has one. I mean, it's a tiny little thing, but it does exist. Trump is a threat to democracy. Yes, he is. It's also funny, they were calling for communism and nationalization of the oil industry in the country. I mean, they're literally calling for that. And for some reason, nobody seems to care. I've seen this with Republicans and in general in chats. They always say that they want these things controlled by the government without realizing. Then you point out that that's communism, and they get all upset and stop talking for some reason. You know, I've never had any of them reply once I point that out for some reason. I don't think they actually know what communism is. But anyway, I have gone through enough, and I have had enough tonight. So yeah, I don't usually use X. I quit using it a while back because it sucks. It really does suck. I don't like X. But I'm going to go on to bed, and let me Start my outro.
Woo! Then I'm good. Let's go.